It's another glorious day, my tea sippers, and you know what time it is. I hope you have all of your crumpets together because it's time to dish the tea. And you're dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat.
Can't wait. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat. It's time to dish tea with Big Meat.
Darling.
Oh, hello, 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 hello. Hello, 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 hello. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on to all of my tea sippers, my crumpet dunkers, my tea brewers, my pot stirrers, my tea leaf readers, my tea baggers, and my tea biscuits, honey. What's your tea? What's your tea? What is your tea, honey? It's another glorious day, my tea sippers. I know you got all of your crumpets together because, darlings, it's time to dish tea, and you are dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat. What's up, honey? Listen, I have had a fantabulous day today, Chad. Okay? I've been running, but it was cute because I had a doctor's appointment, and I found out that the soursop and the beetroot and carrot I've been taking along with all the other vitamins and stuff got my blood pressure back down to normal. But I haven't heard the word normal with my blood pressure in years. They keep telling me I was borderline, right? That damn thing said blood pressure normal at 138/80. I said, well, look here, Jesus. And I lost a couple of pounds. Y'all know I've been saying I was 370 and I'm 358. So I said, well, look at here. Okay. So that day has been cute. Today is November 7th, and I usually don't like to date shows like that. However, I'm dating because today happens to be my nephew's birthday, honey. My nephew, Tank, honey. Onisis Marnez Taylor II. That's my brother's youngest, his only son, and his youngest. Okay, he's 17 years old today. He's a senior in high school and things of that nature. So I want to shout him out. Hey, Tank. Okay. Also, I want to give a shout out to a friend of mine. He goes by Athenos Johnson. Today is his birthday as well, honey. He's out of the country. He took his ass to Japan, chair. So, okay. So we're doing all that, and we're also celebrating my mom on November 5th, a couple of days ago, was my mother's fourth Angel Day, okay? So I celebrate her, and it has just been, just one of those kind of weeks. Honey, Mama has been on me and carrying on. When I went to the city council, if y'all ain't seen my city council thing, yeah, I went down there on purpose with a white and black polka dot two-piece outfit on, with my black trench coat and my white hat. And I had a black hat on, and my black and white spectator pumps. Girl, bad. I went up in there like I was Alexis Carrington Colby with a Dominique Devereaux back. So we have fun. So now, today, darling, we're going to get into the show. Ladies, when you come up in here, I'm talking to the men folk, but I need you guys to weigh in as well, okay? Because the men, y'all know I've been trying to do something where we're talking with the men folk in a way that is going to open up the discussion and get us in a place that's going to say, hey, what's up, right? So having said all that, today's show is called Parenting from the Male's Point of View. Okay, the male point of view. So we got a few things that we're going to get into. I have some videos I'm going to be playing that's going to support the topic that we're going into, right? So before we get started, you ready? Let me bring on in the man with the other plan, honey. Okay. My host. And there we go. Huh? No, wait a minute. There we go. No, we still got a echo.
What about now?
There we go.
Huh?
Yeah, that's it. That there is a no echo. Thank you. Okay. What's up?
Oh, nothing much. Same old. Trash, treasure, and trenches.
Oh, trash. You know what? You better start off that way.
That's what it is.
You better start off that way.
Trash, treasure, and trenches.
Well, all right.
Trollops, tricks, and floozies.
Trollops, tricks, and floozies. Now, okay, wait a minute, honey. Now, those are words that we use over here on the rainbow side of the spectrum, Jack. Trollops,
So
tricks,
you
and
think.
floozies.
So you think.
Okay. No, so I know we just didn't know that they were common with you guys as well.
They coming with the work.
Trollops, tricks, and floozies. Okay.
Yeah.
That was even. Okay.
When you for the streets.
That was an hussies.
And for the BBWs, them hots and heifers.
Not hot and heifers. Okay. You stupid. Now, today. I'm not going to look at him. Okay. Today we're going to have some guests up here with us. Okay, I got Mario in the wings. Mario, you ready to come on up in here? Okay, hold on. I'm going to bring you in. Wait a minute. What is this? Oh, okay. Now, okay. All right. He was saying he couldn't get connected, but that's okay. I sent you the direct link. Wait a minute, and I'm waiting on Xavier too. Xavier's supposed to be coming up in here. These here are our community partners, and yeah. Anywho, let me bring Mario up in here. Come on, Mario. What is this? Oh, okay. There we are.
What is going on with it?
Mario, what's up?
Hey, don't start no shit.
Peoples.
Don't start no shit.
Mario,
Okay,
man, peoples.
Now you know what? Now let me do this because see what we I chose subjects.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Since Mario here, I gotta.
Man, get the hell on, man.
You know what? So tonight's subject. Wait a minute. Let me bring everybody out. I want to widen this so folks can see about it. And then, like I said, tonight we're talking about parenting from a male's point of view. Okay. And what I want to do, I want to get into a couple of topics. I got a couple of videos I'm going to play. That's going to start that's going to get the conversation going. And I know it's going to get into those particular realms, because a couple of these videos are a little bit that way as far as the discussion is going. Okay, so where do I want to start? I want to start with this one first. Let me play the video and then we'll get into it, okay?
But you looking at me like I'm not your daddy. Let me talk first. What you got to get off your chest?
You just can't open up to me like I'm your son.
Open up to you?
Yeah.
Man, you ain't soft. I don't do all that. You know, I've been through too much to be opening up. What I need to open up for? I got a house for you. I take care of you. What else you need?
But like, I need you to like give me guidance and show me a way.
Toughen up.
But still though, even if you don't do that, like you can still talk to your son.
Like what? What you want me to say to you,
Like,
man?
check on me. See how I'm doing every day.
You got clothes, you clean. What else I need to do?
All these clothes and stuff don't mean nothing. Like, truth, I can be hurting on the inside, but put a smile on the outside. Like, even though we in the same house, it's like you're not there.
Like, you ain't a man. How I'm gonna conversate with you?
But I'm going to be a man, though. That's the thing. And I need you to tell me what to do and what not to do.
I ain't had nobody to sit me down. I grew up in a different time. I need you to tell me, son, from your heart, tell me what you need to talk about.
Whenever I talk to you, just get more into it instead of just giving me like a one-word response. Like, keep feeding into it. Like, put your energy into it and just like keep it 100. Like, don't try to push it to the side, act like something else important than your son talking to you.
But let me say this to you, son. What if your dad don't know how to do that? Your dad probably coming about the age me and my good friend. They didn't let us be emotional. When our friends got hurt, they told us suck it up and keep going. Our mothers sometimes told us act like a man and we was a little boy. What if they been telling your dad since he was a little boy to be a man? And now he trying to talk to you, he don't know. Just give him some grace. Try to work with him, all right? Y'all give him a hand.
All right. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. When I posted that, when I posted that, I had sent that out to a few people, and the questions that I posted with that particular video, the first one is fathers. Does anything that the older guy, the father representative there, does any of that ring true? Okay, for old school dads, for new school dads, how much of that rings true, or have you found a different way to do that? That's why learning how to communicate with children. And then I said, for sons, is that something that we go through? Is that something that rings true? Is that effervescent? Is that what it means to deal with your dad? So both of you guys are fathers. I'm gonna start with the father piece first. Yeah, let me start with the father piece first, and then I'm gonna backtrack because when you were the son, was that the thing? So let's start as the father. Mario, you're the guest. I'm gonna start with you first. Was anything that Mr. Man said resonated with you as far as, fathers, growing up in a different time, it was a whole different era of, hell, you're a man, you got to suck it up, and this, that, and that. That whole idea of not knowing how to converse or not having, quote unquote, the right kind of conversation, with your child or whatever. What did that resonate? What is that for you?
For me personally, that's two parts. Because I've been a dad in my opinion in two different eras. My oldest child is 17 years old, so I was 18, 19 years old when she was born. So and back then when I was that young, it definitely rung a bell because I come up the same way. We didn't have fathers that knew how to communicate like that. So all I knew was how to be a dad. Like I saw, I was big on discipline. I didn't know how to converse with my daughter or my son when he came years later. So that, it do resonate. But then at the same time, eventually you grow up, kids get older. Now I have a 3-year-old and 13-year-old, and I now know how to do that. So it definitely resonates with me, and I definitely understand where dad coming from because it's a real thing, especially in the African American community. Parents back then, it wasn't about conversing. You can, we couldn't go to our dads and say, now I'm going to the son part. So that's why I say it's two parts. But
right.
You couldn't go to your dad and tell your dad, about having sexual relations and stuff like that when you were young, because it was either going to be frowned upon by the mother or the dad. Just then, they didn't teach us nothing. We literally, all we knew was how to go out here and how to make something happen. We didn't have those conversations either. So I definitely understand where dad coming from, because if you don't know, you don't know, but you can learn it.
Okay, hold on, before you chime in, let me go here, because if you don't know, you can learn it. That's cute. Here's the thing: tell me, what did you learn over time? What did you learn between the older kids and your younger ones?
Well, two things mainly. One, how to communicate, how to talk to where they can understand it. Sometimes we as parents, we talk to kids, you know, in an adult tone. You don't even have to use profanity. It's just the words that you use and how you communicate it. It comes off. It's not. It comes off mean, and it's not accepted by the kid. So I learned how to communicate. I learned how to ask my daughter what's going on and how to do that without them feeling pressured and without closing them into the box. And then I also learned the importance of allowing a child to freely express themselves verbally without consequence. I don't now, you know, now my 3-year-old, even my 3-year-old can tell me, Daddy, don't do that. I don't like when you do that, or you hurt my feelings, and I'll apologize. I instantly go into dad mode. Then that didn't matter to me because I was dad, you're the child, you're gonna do what I say do, or otherwise. Now it's nothing like that. So I learned how to communicate, and I learned the importance of it. And when I did that, now it's second nature to me.
Okay, now let me go ahead. I'm going to push the apple cart just a little bit because you talked about your daughters in that particular sense. What have you learned about this for your son? Because in this example, this here was just a father and son. One of the things that we all know when it comes down to male relationships is that's a whole different dynamic because the girls are always going to be daddies, the girls and the princesses and this and the other. Boys on the other end, niggas, you gonna toughen up, and it's that shit. So what did you learn?
Well, I'm still that nigga. You gonna toughen up and you gonna stop crying. I'm still that. However, I learned to allow my son to freely express himself without any hindrance, without me judging him. My son is on the autism spectrum, but he is verbal and he is very alert about what's going on, what he do like, what he don't like. I've always tried to keep that line of communication open because he's on the spectrum. However, now he's able to, joke around and be that son without him having to be, without it having to be a this is what I said relationship, and this is what you're gonna do. If he don't want to do it now, I provide him options, and now I just learned how to do that better. I was hard on my son. I didn't, just because he was on the autism spectrum, I never treated him no different than I treated my 17-year-old daughter. He got chewed out just like her ass got chewed out. It's the same boat with me. I don't believe in just because you have a mental disability or mental you mentally unable to understand some things that I'm gonna take it easy on you. I'm gonna treat you different. That's not how I operate. You're gonna get the same treatment regardless of what's going on, and you're gonna understand it. And that's how I used to be. Now I'll allow him to freely express himself without me hammering down his throat or without me nigga this, nigga that. And that's another thing I had to cut out was the nigga. I really had to cut that out because I used to tell him all the time, damn little nigga, go on, stop all that crying. I had to cut all that out, and I had to really tone it down and learn how to effectively communicate with my son. And that's actually taking me into my workplace too. I learned how to communicate with them first, and now I can communicate with anybody that want to communicate with me.
Okay, that want to communicate with me. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, Red, you want to chime in?
Sure.
Red, you got kids?
Do I? Okay. Me stand up. Okay. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I come from that line where it was do as I say, not as I do.
Absolutely.
Don't question me. Definitely won't question you because I don't have a line of questions for a child. But you got to mix that also in with my military background. That's where I draw the line. I have issue because I know what this world is offering us at birth as black men. So when I get on my sons, I don't get on them or talk tough or harsh to them because I don't love them or don't care about them. But I know nobody else does, regardless of what's told to them. You understand? So when I'm saying what I have to say, I'm saying it so you can hear me because these newer generations, they can't hear you when you're just having a conversation with them. So when they get into that teen mode, because every one of them has, well, we talked about this before, this rite of passage thing that goes on with every male child. And you're going to meet that. And what happens is they get to a certain age, so sometimes between 14 and 16, where they think they can challenge you. Oh, man, I can whoop you. Okay? And in their mind, they got this going on. So the next time that you all have some type of disagreement or conversation, you never know which time it is. One of them may challenge you. This goes on every day in America. And I've done it. You know, with kids that I raised from babies, young men that I raised from little kids, you know, as stepchildren, I had 4 of them in the house besides mine. So that's 5 boys in the house. And lo and behold, every time one of them passed 14, 15, 16, I had to put a SEAL team for them.
Well, we got to figure out who the leader of the pack is.
Well, they always found out the hard way. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, but it's only one time you have to go through that.
Right.
You know, a few of them I had 3-piece too. Some of them I dumped on the head. One I kicked through a wall. I mean, it's cool. I admit that. But to this day, if we all sitting around, they thank me for all that. They didn't understand it then.
Mm-hmm.
But today, they look up to me because they real dads didn't have nothing to do with them. So they look at it like this, you know, it's a gift of the curse. You got some people around here, they try to play that soft card because the government is in your house trying to ruin you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And they don't understand that the government don't care about you. They're trying to make $1 off locking your daddy up. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to earn some income off dividing the home and calling the child support so they can hire more people with defects because when the child support come through, your mama only get 1/3 of it because the rest of it is paying the bills over there in defect.
Well, let me ask you this, Meech. Can I ask him a question right quick?
Go ahead.
But don't you think that, you know, with I'm not gonna do it verbatim because I just can't remember what you said verbatim that fast. But for those softer parents, the softer parenting,
right.
Can't we attribute that to not trying to cause the pain and the bad memories that you had on your children? Like me, I never want my children to experience the negative part of being a kid that I had to experience.
Okay.
You know, so I tend to, when I catch myself being too hard, whether it's on my daughters or my son, I always try to remember how did I feel when I was a kid and my daddy or my mama or my stepdaddy, or I ain't have stepdaddies, we don't call them stepdaddies, or them niggas, you know what I mean? How did I feel when that shit happened to me? You know, and then I try to put myself in there. So instead of us, you know, attributing that to being a softer parent, which technically I understand why you call it a softer parent, you know, but there may be an underlying reason why that parent is like that.
Well, one of my problems, Mario, hold on. One of my problems is I didn't do my girls like that because I didn't have to.
Okay.
But my boys, I refuse to let them step out here and think that, you know what I'm saying, it's okay to be mediocre. It's not.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
It's just not for us. Every one of us born. We need to be born with a PhD in order to get a step ahead. We don't learn nothing about the stock market, the laws of averages, nothing about these things. We don't know nothing about no IULs and no type of trading or nothing until we become grown adults or whatever. They learn this in elementary school in their neighborhoods.
True.
So I got to make you want to be inquisitive about knowing more than what I'm pouring into you. I'm gonna push you. You know what I'm saying? But will I hurt you? No. And I'm not gonna hurt you.
But what and who constitutes hurt? That's what. See, these are the conversations that these new psychologists have, because what you feel like may not hurt me as a son, how you say something, why you saying something, and who you saying something around, all that plays a contributing factor of will it hurt me or not.
Okay, let me jump in. Okay, because see, right now, what you just said is this new age way. You know, when we were coming up, we had Dr. Spock. Dr. Spock was telling folks about not whooping your kids and this, that, and the other, you know, put them in timeout and this, that, and the other. That came from a motherfucker, honey, who didn't have kids. You done wrote a whole book that became a whole expert on child rearing, and he did not have his own children. Okay, and nor did he raise kids. Okay, so the world became topsy-turvy based on ideology from somebody who never walked the walk. Okay.
Gotcha.
So now what you just said is Dr. Spock 2.0, because now what we have done, we've gone on the other side of the spectrum, because now the whole thing became, oh, well, children got feelings that you have to understand, and they may not want to do this, and you have to give them the opportunity to express themselves. And when you in my house and you ain't got a motherfucking bill to pay up in this bitch, there is no democracy, honey. This is a show enough dictatorship until you get to a point where you can express yourself freely and we can have a dialogue. If you're still sitting up here doing X, Y, Z, there is no debate. No. And that now that I'm old school in that, okay, there is no debate. However, the whole idea of softness, and I think there's two different definitions that we got work. No, I don't know. Let me put it this way. I'm hearing two different definitions. And I'm hearing two different definitions because I'm coming from a different angle. Okay. I got the rainbow side of this. Okay. And as someone who was always sensitive, I could cry the drop of a dime. And I know when I was coming up, being a sensitive person was always that was a problem in my household. Okay. So it was always, everybody was trying to toughen me up. And it wasn't about me being tough or whatever. I'm just a sensitive guy. Okay. And that translated differently. Okay. So instead of you learning me, okay, you're sitting here trying to toughen me up and this, that, and I'm getting yelled at. When after my parents divorced, then I got military style Marine training and shit in the household. Okay, because this motherfucker, trying to sit up there and make sure I'm this kind of a man and all this bullshit, And so the dynamics change, right? So the idea of parenting from a male perspective, yeah. Now when my daddy was in the house, I emulated my father. My father was my world, right? My father was very chauvinistic. He was I'm the head of the house. I got the final say. Bitch, you better do what the fuck I say, or I'm going upside your head. I dealt with all of that. Okay, in the household with a woman who was like, no, nigga. Okay. So my parents, and I've said this on the show a lot, they were my Superman and Wonder Woman. And when they it was the epic battle. Okay. So I grew up with that, with a father who felt that, and I'm the firstborn. My mother was coddling me because I had to learn how to cook and this, that, and the other, because I'm helping her take care of the kids because he was in the streets. Okay. So that became a problem. So when he came home and I got the baby in my arm and I'm bottle feeding the baby, or I'm in the kitchen cooking, trying to make sure that they eat, he had a fucking problem with that. Okay, because that's woman's work and shit. And then now all of a sudden I'm a big sissy. Okay, and those are his words. So now it became a problem. You know what I'm saying? It became a problem. Right?
It's how you said it that got me. It's how you said that shit that got me.
But that's what it was. That's how all this had become.
Yeah, right, right, absolutely.
All of that. So I'm 3 years older than my brother and 7 years older than my sisters. Okay, so here I am at 10 years old. Okay, helping my mama raise kids.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And then you mad, daddy, because you got my mama trying to sissify me, And you mad because I'm fucking around raising your goddamn kids because you try to see the bitches in the street. And mad because I'm not over there watching the bitches with you. See? So that whole idea of, like the guy was saying, men wasn't taught this. The whole idea of being a man has always been, this was the question that I asked, is it all about masculinity, or is this an archetype that we have allowed society to put on males, and we have just accepted it because of what this dynamic is? And then we got white men, and then we got black men.
It's about what
the black man thing is a whole different archetype.
You got okay.
It's about one thing. It's about one thing and one thing only, and that's respect. Now let me clarify something. I still believe in a good ass whooping. However, I just don't think an ass whooping is the result for everything.
No,
Right. Now that's true.
So, but I used to because I grew up where every time you did something,
Yeah.
I grew up with a neighbor. I remember my fifth grade teacher, Miss Clemens. I don't know if she gone or not. I love her to this day. But I remember she whooped my ass in school.
Class, yeah.
So, I really believe in a good ass whipping. And I really believe in and in my household, I am the king.
Yeah.
But I allow my children, I soften myself up, mostly because I got all girls, like you hinted to, mostly because I am strictly a girl. I got one son, 4 girls. So I'm a girl dad, so I had to soften myself up. I had to really learn that females actually have emotions. Men, we don't tap into our emotions until we become adults.
We're not taught that, which is the thing. But go ahead.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we don't tap into it because we don't know they are there. We don't know it exists. But with my daughters, I had to learn. And it took my fiance, God bless her lovely soul. It took her to really teach me that, Malcolm, you really got to understand that the smallest little thing that I can say will hurt their feelings. So that's where I see you call them Dr. Spot point of view, because I got all girls. However, I also come from a split household where my daddy was over here. My dad is a Baptist preacher from the South. So I ain't got to say too much. My daddy was a Rolling Stone, and wherever he lay his hat,
okay,
the rest of it. So right, and then my mom practically raising 3 boys. We all 2 years apart, so we in the same age range, like the same thing.
Right.
And she raising us by herself, and she got her boyfriend who we gonna be rebellious. You ain't our daddy. You don't tell us what to do. At that age, because we hit 15, 16, we ain't going for it no more. So I get where all the points come from, but I really believe that as black men that's raising black boys in 2025 in this society, they need a place where they can openly vent without the world criticizing them. You can't. Women feel like it's not masculine when a man present himself in an emotional state.
But okay, not just women. That's not just a woman thing. Women have learned how to weaponize it. Women will weaponize the shit out of that. I can't stand when women do that. But at the same time, we as men, we see it as weak, and we try to, this whole thing of being strong and this, that, and the other. We have. It's a facade. It's a facade because that's why we got songs like "I need to go outside in the rain" and this, that, and the other. So the rain can mask my tears and this, that, and the other. Or we have this thing to where a man needs to just go off into the woods and just be by himself so that he can collect himself. Now, everybody needs to have that downtime. The thing of it is that when it comes down to emotions and dealing with this, particularly with parenting, we have not allowed ourselves, or we've not been taught that it's okay. So now going back, let me go back to the question, because I started off with y'all being fathers. Now, when y'all were the sons, when you had to look up to your dad, did that boy sit down there and say, "Dad, okay, listen, you can't talk to me. you in the house and you still not there. You're not present in my life.
Hell no, you couldn't say no shit like that. Hell no.
No, we didn't say it, but did it resonate? Did it resonate?
So you said, would if I had seen that clip when I was a boy, would that clip resonate with me?
No, does it resonate now? Now that
Yeah,
you know.
it resonates now that I know. It resonates because I can tap into those same feelings that he had. We could not talk to our parents about pretty much any goddamn thing. You had to be a boy, get your ass out there, cut that grass, take that trash out, clean them gutters, and bring your ass in this house, shower, eat, go to bed.
Right.
We didn't, it wasn't that. So I understand totally where the son coming from. Like, I ain't got no arguments against that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh,
But you better not damn say it to your daddy. I know that much. Back then, in the 90s,
Mario, because you know, like I know, that's an unspoken language.
yes, sir.
That is something that don't go on, and it's not even pinpointed, operated. You can't even pass a note about it. You just can't do it. It's what you accept what is given, and you take what is given, and you make the best of it. That's what we was raised at. So that's why I said the difficult times that I had transitioning, per child, was the fact that I went through that myself. Growing up, it's like I didn't go to my dad for stuff. I went to my grandparents.
Right.
Oh, another dynamic. There we go.
Uncle, right.
I went to his mama and daddy. Went to his sister.
Yep.
Oh,
absolutely.
Okay. Dynamic
So
right there.
I had somewhere to go that was still connected to him, because that way they'll give me a segue, or they'll talk to him, not me.
Absolutely.
So
facts.
So yeah, I had it that route. But me now, okay, then I turned around and I lost both my parents 3 months apart, 4 months apart, in the same year. 2 separate things. You know what I'm saying? The same year, I was 18 years old with no mom and dad. But I had them, but they were active in my life up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So the stuff that they instilled in me, so like I said, they graduated high school with honors, all that stuff. Okay, cool. They built a great man. But the coddliness became overwhelming, so I went to the military. That's what sent me to the military, to get away from people. They used to worry about my mentality, my mental health. So I get out. First thing I do, I had a daughter before I left. So I'm taking care of my daughter. That's the first thing I was on anyway. I was like, let me find a segue to make sure I'm taking care of my child. So I'm doing all this, building myself up as a man. But all I have is that 18 years of parenting to know what mom and daddy was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they both did a great job. It's just that they did a great job for a time such as that.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what was accepted back then. So now it comes to me coming home, had tough love from my daddy, had a tough mama that knew how to communicate a little bit, but she still doggone had that iron fist. So mix that with the military, then I'm over there training with SEAL Team 4 and all that. So it kind of, I've been to war and everything, so I come back. So now my mind is this: whoever's the highest ranking is the end of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? So for a young man child to come to me and say stuff like, "Oh, recently."
He said recently.
Or you kind of unapproachable or everything. You almost got punched in your mouth telling me that at your age.
Yeah.
Unapproachable. Boy, you about to get beat up. I'm gonna show you unapproachable. Because I'm the only person you should be able to approach. And like I told him, and I gave him an example in that conversation. If you see me out on the corner choking the life out of somebody, you my son. You can still tap me on the shoulder and ask me whatever you need to ask me in the world. I'm going to address it. You don't have to like how I address it, but it ain't to hurt you. It's the doggone fix you or build you up or give you the answer you need, or the doggone tools you need to go get it. That's it. And that's how I answer that question right here in the same room. But that's not acceptable for these generations. All they're looking for is a crutch of cushionality. Oh, the timeout. All that came from the government. I'm not with all that with a boy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree.
With all that. Now with a girl, I've only had 2 girls I raised, and I only had the dog on jack them up 1 time apiece, and I ain't never had no problems after that. None. But I best believe neither one of them will tell you I'm unapproachable. So that's why I'm having an issue with the way that situation there. I understand the young man, but I don't understand as the father because he didn't have no being. At least I'm one of the people that will think, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where you come from, and I'll reapproach it, but you know, like he had no.
Well, in that particular scenario, that was an exercise,
right?
And he did that on purpose, not to have a being. And if y'all remember the movie Fences, that there was reminded me of that scene with Denzel Washington and his son, when his son said, "You don't like me." He said, "Nigga, I'm not supposed to.
Like you. I love that thing.
I'm not supposed to like you. I go to work. I give you clothes. I like you. That ain't part of the motherfucking deal. You know. Now, I get all of that, but Daddy was wrong, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Right, and I know the motherfucker. I know you got something smart to say, but I don't give a damn. Because here's where I am. Jay, I see you.
Y'all get 2 more.
Well, too bad. Okay. I ain't worried about that. You know I don't worry about that shit. I don't know shit. Anywho.
So you cut that shit right now.
You say that like I'm supposed to be fucking scared. Okay, but anywho. Oh shit. I'm like, damn, I'm all but the issue that I have, and I've had this with my daddy, okay, and this and the other is this whole, what in the fuck is this hard shit? Then I bring you in here because see, Lord, no, I can handle this shit. It's gonna be 3 of y'all against me. I can handle this. Come on, Zay. I'm trying to understand, why is that so fucking important when it comes to raising boys?
Because you don't respect me.
Wait. Because I heard, and I do get. Now I don't want this to go on deaf ears like I'm too sissified and don't understand the idea of what the world is. I fight this motherfucking world as a damn sissy. Okay. Okay, but at the same time, whatever this hardness is, okay, that there is what rubs my skin raw. Okay, because we focus so much on that. And I think somebody like me, because I'm rebellious in that way, if you start barking at me too long, I will shut the fuck down. Okay. And in some regards, all the girl in me will come out just because. Okay. Will come out just because. Because I'm like, okay, in fact, all of my 20s were that way. My 20s, my whole entire flamboyancy in my 20s was a revolt against all of that.
You said flamboyant?
Yeah. Oh. Okay. All of my flamboyant, when I'm wearing my hair pressed and curled and carrying on and my pastel colors and all of that was a revolt against that, because you're not going to tell me the kind of man I'm supposed to be.
You had hair?
At the time. Oh. Okay.
This man said everything I'm thinking in my head.
Okay. Yeah, I used to go get my hair done, okay, every 2 weeks. Okay. So
at a salon?
At a salon.
With all the bras.
With all the bras.
Y'all are hell already.
Okay, with all the bras. And you know I hate that word. Fuck you. Okay.
2. I ain't saying nothing.
Man, funny, man.
You don't want to be a broad.
Because I'm not.
Okay.
But to that point, Meech, the reason why it, you know, it rubbed you in your words raw, because it's called masculinity.
No, that ain't motherfucking masculinity.
It is. You may not agree, but you know that's
you know what? And I knew that word was gonna come up like that in this fucking context. What about this is supposed to be hard? What
Hey,
about that is supposed to be so
look,
motherfucking that way to where this here, especially in the black community, because that day I had to fight this motherfucking shit all 55 years of
I
my
had to fight
all
all
this
my life.
all my life. Call me just because
yeah.
you want to, goddamn, I'm gonna give a fuck. Because this here has just been the bane of my fucking existence. And I'm trying to understand it with some clarity. I don't want that. I don't want that surface shit. I'm trying to really get down to understanding why is it that we as a black community, particularly black men, acquiesce to whatever the fuck hard is supposed to be.
Well, being the son, my father uh is a veteran, and my father grew up in middle Georgia, but I would say still a very racy and racist part of town in middle Georgia, and very and even to this day, the leader of that city now is a family member of my family. But while things have changed, they've still kind of stayed the same. Growing up in a house where my tears were not met were met with, well, suck it up, you know, um, and I think I was probably about, oh gosh, I might have been 21, 22. Because I tell people my dad was the dad that was there. He was there, and he may not have always been there the way I wanted him to be, but he was there the way that I needed him to be.
Okay.
And I know, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. Um, that my dad didn't come to every football game, but hell, he was at the championship. So, like but I think I remember when I was 21, 22, I asked him, I said, why? I said, why is it always just such a hard thing? 'Cause I just feel like you just come off aggressive and I had not, and fences, of course, hadn't even, was nowhere in production at that time.
Right.
And
Well, not
many,
the
many,
film.
many years, yeah, many years ago, my dad said to me, I remember I compared him to the dad in A Raisin in the Sun.
Yes, the wall. Ooh, yeah.
hmm And I said, and my dad told me squares that he looked in my face. He said, the world is going to be 10 times harder on you than I ever will be. I'm just trying to prepare you to be able to stand, because they're going to take their best blow to knock you down. And you can't fall. And if you do fall, you can't stay down long. And you can't show the world your your emotions or feelings, because they will exploit that, they will take advantage of that, and they will use that against you. Um, and so for me, being a young man, having gone to Morehouse, I see, I see remnants of it now, and I don't take it lightly. But I think, hell, I was an educator for 16 years. 8 of those years, I was a school administrator. I saw, at none of the schools I worked at were cakewalks. I had more students in that school that didn't know their dad than those that did, and
Right.
I found myself being the way to them that my dad was to me. And I guess they saw the genuineness in that. So they consistently gravitated towards me, to the point where I could just look at somebody doing something wrong and he'll fix it. He'll fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't think the toughness is a bad thing. I just the part that I think we get wrong today, as men, and God knows I'm working on that with my child, is I don't want to be tough, overly masculine, or hard, or I'm not going to say aggressive. Let's use the word abrasive. I don't want to be in that mantra in a moment when they need my vulnerability.
Right.
Mm.
And
Okay,
I
so
think yeah.
okay, wait a minute. Hold on, because let's bring that word into play. Because what I'm hearing you when you mention that word is that we compensate all of that hardness to cover the vulnerability. Is that anywhere near accurate?
I can say that to an extent.
What
Mario,
about
I don't know.
everybody else? Everybody else weigh in. Is that somewhat accurate or what?
No, I believe that to be pretty accurate. I mean, yeah, we sometimes we try to be hard to prevent from being soft,
Mm-hmm.
for lack of a better term. Um, yeah, so I can see that. Yeah, I can agree.
my biggest issue as an Afro-American man in the United States of America is being behind the 8 ball at the day of birth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? As soon as we are born, we're born into negativity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you don't have a positive male figure somewhere in your life, whether it be your dad or anybody else,
Right.
nobody's going to help you, regardless of how they help you. Long as they're not physically hurting you,
Right.
I feel like
Right.
their mindset may come from a place of hurt for them, right?
Right.
But long as they have learned to evolve and not make it to where it breaks you and it causes a situation where the chain is not broken. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Where they making where they're taking their hurt and pains they went through the parenting and the son and the fatherhood thing.
Right.
If they taking their hurts and pains and building you up to be something better than what they are, then I'm all for
I got it.
your ground.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I can get that.
The only thing with me, like I said, the times that I've had that rite of passage situation,
right,
that was really, I always took it to the point where I would push the envelope all the way up to that child attacks me. So every time I struck one of them children, it was in self-defense. Because if you don't, they don't, you know.
That's right. That's right.
You're in your house and dude,
that's right.
They charging you or swinging on you? No. I'm gonna have to bring you back to you know what I'm saying? Check your high school ID, brother. Just check
okay.
Get up, dust yourself off. I love you, but you know what I'm saying? We're not doing that here at this address.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and at the end of the day, I'm not gonna knock you out to the hospital.
And then this ain't no after school special to where y'all see this shit on TV.
Right.
Now that's
my thing is this, I'm never gonna, like, every time I've had to deal with that type of situation,
right,
I've never made it where they needed emergency help.
Right.
You know, can I? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I've learned to refrain myself. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm gonna dust you off, sit you down, and explain to you what just happened.
And what has happened. Okay.
Let me speak to that right quick. See, with me is a little bit different, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I had my dad in my life. Like I said, my dad was an old South Baptist preacher, and I mean, the man can preach. However, he was in our lives, and remember, I have 4 brothers total. The oldest 3 is, you know, my mom, my dad was married. The oldest 3 is by my mom, and he was in our life whenever he, you know, at his convenience. He wasn't there when we needed him the most. But however, my grandmother, my mother's mother had a brother, and he didn't play the radio. It was yes sir, no sir, and that was clean up to the day he died. And he died in late 2010s. He died like 2015, 2016, 2017. Okay. And he instilled a fear of God in us that was so big that and he was the smallest thing. I mean, he probably was every bit of 5'6", 110 pounds soaking wet with bricks in his pockets. Oh, wow. Small, but he had a fear in us that we knew the moment we thought about it, you better wake up and talk to Jesus, nigga.
Right.
You know what I mean? So even though we had that, that masculinity, he was still that uncle though, that all of us, all the boys went to whenever there was an issue, whenever there was an understanding that needed to be given, we all went to him. And now to this day, I credit my uncle. I don't credit my daddy for the type of man that I am, because my dad didn't teach me one thing about being a man. And he was in our lives whenever he wanted to be. He didn't even teach me how to use a hammer. I ain't learned how to use a hammer until I was 30 years old.
You know,
and so that's my point of view, and that's why I'm the one that's gonna try to have as much balance as I can. I'll whoop your ass, but we can talk about it later.
Right.
And, you know, I'll add on to that. First of all, Mario, I hear you correct, bro. You said your dad was a preacher?
Old Baptist Southern preacher. I'm talking about one that jumping over the pew.
Okay, Meech, take note of that. We'll revisit that later. But
I got that. Okay.
But I just, you know, I think I've had students down through the years tell me stuff, you know, tell me things like that. I ain't had my dad. And I think one thing I've had to do as a black man is learn how to see the glass as being half full as opposed to half empty. Because, you know, I tell people, you know, I had my dad. My dad was in the house. He was present when he felt like he wanted to be, and at times when he probably thought he needed to be. But it wasn't, you know, I always felt like even those who had theirs and had more than had their dad in other ways, they still had more than me. But I remember I came across one student one time, and he was going in about that he had a dad. And I said, man, let me tell you something. Sometimes, and only because Mario brought the ministry aspect into it, I'm gonna put my preacher hat on for a second and say, we get to a posture where we wanted our fathers to be certain things. That's the other part that makes being a dad that much more interesting, because you feel like me being a dad, I get to try my best to do everything right that I thought that my dad did wrong.
Hmm.
Unbeknownst to me, there's that one variable that we don't consider, and that's life. And my life was different than his. I got different experiences, I got different challenges, I got
Right.
different internal struggles. And so, but I always told my students that didn't have that. I said sometimes, even for me having my dad, that was my blessing. You not having your dad was a blessing for you, because only God knew the type of dad you had, and had that man been involved in your life, what type of man would you turn out to be?
Would you be?
I I sat in a courtroom with a young man who had his dad, and he picked up every bad trait his dad had. Did anger issues, mismanagement issues, the whole nine. And so he's sitting in the courtroom trying to convince a jury of his peers that he didn't need to go to prison for beating a person within inches of their life, for beating a woman within inches of her life. Let me be more specific. But that's because he had his dad, and he saw his dad beat all his girlfriends, and he grew up while and the thing was, he beat the wrong girl, and now in a position, he was in a position where, and he still ended up getting time for it. So I just,
Mm.
I think sometimes I've learned that the blessing in not having there's a blessing in not having a person, just how it is in that. Because I also heard you talk about your uncle, who was, and like I told my sister, there's always a figure that's given to you that does the job of who we wanted to. And it goes
Absolutely.
back to that saying, you may not get what you want how you
But you,
want it, but you come on.
You get what
yep,
you need. Okay.
That's
absolutely.
it.
I'm gonna be honest with how you put that. If you look in the Bible, it shows where the uncle shows up.
Right.
That's the uncle's job.
Yeah, it
Right.
shows.
That's
Yeah,
the uncle's job.
exactly.
And I'm an uncle, and if you took my nephew, my oldest nephew, you would think he's my child.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That boy,
Right.
that boy loved the ground. I love him to death. He loved the ground I walk on. I mean, he liked the type of music that I like. He liked to dress in the suits like I like. You know me. So I put on the suit. I'm a different nigga.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
but he like all of that I like, because he mimicked his uncle.
Right.
He loves his dad, and his dad is in his life, but he mimics his uncle. It's something about that uncle, and I'm grateful to God that God gave me that, because without that, I wouldn't be the man that I am today.
Because
And I had that uncle that nigga. I'm telling you, when he said something,
yeah,
that was it. It wasn't no discussion. It wasn't no negotiation. I don't give a damn how you feel. I'm telling you what's best for you, because one day you're gonna have to tell somebody what's best for them, and I need for you to receive it like you're gonna want that child to receive it. And
Exactly.
that's like uncle we had.
Exactly.
but
And I
my
go ahead.
stuff. My stuff. I'm gonna tell you something. When you said about your dad not being, how not having a dad there, for a reason. Now my dad. Okay, I grew up in a split household. I had my mom and my dad, and they co-parented like some magic. It was crazy. Like they always told on me to each other. so it was they was a team on the parent side. But at the end of the day, I think about, my dad, he gave me some Sundays or Saturday afternoon movies and discipline.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Mm-hmm.
The end.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, and when his money was ignorantly overflowing, he just bought. He just paid.
Right. Because he was providing.
But as far as that pouring into your child and all that stuff right there, I always had stuff like, "Oh, I bet you can't go get that girl."
Nah, I
You know,
had that type of thing.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the man stuff.
The man
See?
stuff is like,
Yeah.
"You can't get that girl,"
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you take me on Sundays, say, "You having time with me because we're going to watch a movie."
Right.
But it's a movie I couldn't get in without you
Without
anyway.
it. Right. Exactly. Okay. See, and that's another dynamic, which is why this conversation is necessary. Because whether you came from a two-parent household or not, particularly if you came from a traditional household, your father was the weekend dad anyway, because you only seen him on the weekends when he was off work. Okay. Other but Monday through Friday, honey, he at work. He may see you when you get ready to go to school, or right when he come home from work, and at dinner time. Well, hell, at dinner time, you about to get ready to go to bed because it's 8, 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock. Y'all gonna take a bath or whatever. Dad may sit up there and talk about your schoolwork, whatever, what y'all do, you know. Or if you got to disciplinary, you're giving your mom a problem, you know. It was that whatever that little time frame was. Then you went to bed, mom and daddy went to go take care of whatever they're gonna take care of. Okay, then it's the cycle until the weekend.
My daddy,
Okay.
he was with me 18 years.
See,
I never punched a clock.
see. Okay.
I never seen him go to work for nobody.
Okay. So with that, you know, so those are different variables that come into play when we talk about parenting from a male's point of view. And again, I'm not oblivious to it. You know, I'm going to play this next clip because I'm bringing up the uncle. So let me play this next clip because this is all tying in together.
He's not gonna change shit. So what? You too worried about my brother? Like, why are you so worried? Just because he like boys, it don't mean that. That don't have nothing to do with you.
That shit not happening.
It's not. What's not happening? He's taking my baby. That's the only babysitter I got. Nobody else wants to babysit my son. Okay, so then call your mama, because your mama don't ever want to babysit. So you gonna watch the kids while I go to the girls' night?
Ain't none of that shit going on. Like, you not going nowhere either. We all in this bitch as a family. What are you talking about? Getting this shit together.
Talking about my brother, bitch. Stop bringing my brother. You always gotta bring up what he like.
He not being
Your ass weird. That shit is weird. Stop bringing up with my brother. You too worried about my brother. Why the fuck do you think he's gonna try to put that in my son's head? My brother's not gonna. Nah, he's not like that. Why would he do something like that? You're not putting shit in my son's head. Your ass, boy, you better stop talking like that. I'm not even gonna hold you. You just be too worried about the wrong shit. Like, I never met somebody that's just so worried about the next person, like, and what they like.
Okay. All right. So, true story. I've gone through that with a girlfriend of mine, okay? The father of her set of twins, child, that motherfucker.
Oh, you was the babysitter, right?
I was the babysitter.
Oh, okay. I was confused like that.
Confused right now.
I thought you were way back. I thought you were okay. Go ahead. All right. My mind's running, bro. My mind is somewhere. Let's go ahead.
Cuss his ass out, me.
I'm trying to keep my decorum. I'm trying to look y'all.
I'm trying to give him a fucking pass, and I'm like,
it was the way you said. You ain't got to give me no pass.
Bro, hey, Zay, they know I can't keep my composure, bro. They know I'm a goofy motherfucker, and I'm gonna laugh, man. This shit.
Go ahead. Anyway, all right. My girlfriend, her baby daddy. I'm gonna call him that loosely. Okay.
Her kid's father. We not baby daddies, man. Respect the black man. Her kid's father.
This motherfucker was the baby daddy. Okay. Because he wanted to pull the father card, just like this motherfucker just did. Okay. Simply because he had come to the house. She had to go take care of the business, right? She had to go get all the business stuff together, and the kids were toddlers, right? And so I'm there at the house, and she told me not to let him in because they were having problems, but he didn't have a key to the house. And I said, okay, cool. So he wanted to pull I'm here to see my kids. I said, yes, I understand all that, but you're not going to get up in here until she comes home because her rules are that, she don't want nobody in the house until she gets back. And he wanted to huff and puff and carry it on to this, that, and the third. And I let him close the door. So thank you. You will wait till she come back. So when she got back, it became this whole big old thing of, I don't want this gay motherfucker around my kids thing. Okay. And you know, that led into a whole big to-do and this, that, and other, kind of similar to this thing here. Okay. And I had to tell her, I said, you know what? I said, I have no claims to these kids. I love them dearly, but he is their daddy. So, girl, you know what? You chose that motherfucker. I didn't. So I'm a bounce because I don't want to disrespect him in front of his kids. But he got one more time to act like he want to raise up at me. And it's going to be a whole nother world.
Ooh, Lord, a sugar butt whooping.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You hate them.
You gonna windmill that nigga? No, go ahead. Just a question.
If I call him another motherfucker, that's going to be 3, right?
No, that'd be 2.
Shit.
I wasn't giving a disclaimer.
Now about that video.
Yeah.
Right.
Here we go.
I'm gonna approach this with as much humility as I possibly can.
Oh, just shoot from the hip.
I will say this. I will say this. In my opinion, he had the right to say what he said, but there's a way to communicate that. And the reason why is because that's her brother, and I got 4 of them motherfuckers, and I don't give a goddamn who don't like them. You ain't finna be comfortable enough to just come to me bashing my brothers, and none of them gay. But regardless of what the subject is, I'm gonna defend my brother. So I understand her point. However, as a man and as a father, our main jobs is 2 things: to provide and to protect. Regardless if that's a stigma that we need to get rid of, regardless of how everybody feels, that is a man's job from a father's perspective. Yep. As long as those 2 things are done, we as men are satisfied. So if I feel that I don't want that around my child, I have every right to feel that way and to communicate that. There's a way to do it, but I have that right. And I have never experienced it. So I can't talk about it from an experience point of view, but I can talk about it for how I would react if I was in that situation. And I'm saying, you might not like what he said, and you did right by saying he's a dad and he has that right, and I'm gonna leave. So I want to left. I ain't gonna tell you to leave, but you know, was right. He was totally right about how he felt. He had that right. I support his decision 100%. If I was there, I would have just pulled my homie to the side and be like, hey, bro, you know what I mean? You ain't got to talk about him like that. Talk to a one-on-one. Don't do it in front, whatever the case may be. But he was totally justified in his feelings, and we not gonna.
And which is why I can easily acquiesce to people's feelings. You can't help how you feel. You can only help how you react to them. Okay?
Right.
And so that was his feeling, even though it was a feeling of convenience, as far as I was concerned, because you mad because you couldn't get in his house. But all right, that's a whole separate issue.
Oh no, I was talking about. When I was just talking, I was talking about the video. I wasn't comparing.
No. I'm correlating. Okay,
gotcha.
I think if I could add to that for a moment.
Yeah.
I guess and maybe this is me becoming sensitized to the world a little bit more than I probably should be in this regard. But like I said, I spent many years in the school district. I currently serve in ministry now. I'm a youth pastor. So and it's weird because they say, well, the Bible says one thing, and I don't disagree with it, but I also believe that, love conquers a multitude of sin. And so for me, I look at it a little differently. My senior year of high school, I went to spend the night at a friend's house who was openly gay. Well, I said it bad. He wasn't openly gay, but the signs were there. But we we were cool. Now, nothing ever happened. We were in the same organization, and I actually had to preach at his church on that Sunday. So it made sense for me to stay downtown on Boulevard than to be all the way out in the suburbs. you know, I went to Morehouse and I picked my roommate strategically. Uh, I picked the male whore of my high school. I don't know if that was probably the best thing to do now. Ain't no telling what happened on my bed when I was out the room, but you know, Lord, them girls from Spelman were ran through there. But anyway, um, I, to me, and you know, I have a cousin who's a doctor, you know, the doctor of education. He's a great teacher up in Cobb County. You know, when I look at it, um, I look at that very differently. I don't. I believe the dad. I believe that was his opinion, and even as a father, I respect that wholeheartedly. I respect his opinion. I'm gonna echo Mario in the delivery. I think the delivery was wrong, and even more so, his sensitivity was wrong.
Yeah.
Because here's my thing, and I can't speak for anywhere else but in Atlanta. In 2025, you need all the help you can get with your children. Ain't no way in the world you can, you know, we're gonna say I don't want nobody keeping my kid. Let me tell you something, as long as you ain't a felon, as long as you ain't running large amounts of marijuana around, but then you can't, because who's to say that there's gonna be a day where he gotta go to work, she gotta go to work, and that's all the help that's available. What you gonna call in sick because of your sexual biasness? And I understand that it might bother, you know, it might bother you what's available, but what's available to you, but we can't be so wrapped in our ways, you know, like right now it's a child who goes to my daughter's daycare. They had a birthday party. The mother has a wife. So
Mhm.
and here's the caveat, they have a son.
Mhm.
So, you know, when you're presented with those, it's real convenient when it's your family, when it's somebody else's family, and you do or don't have a choice. But what about us parents who I send my child to daycare? She can't pick her classmates. She can't pick her classmates' parents. What happens when the invitation comes for a birthday sleepover and I have to tell her no, and she's trying to figure out why, and I have to, you know, strategically figure out how to word. And I'm not saying I would say no. I'm just saying, like, you know, but to those parents that have to say no to their kids, and why? Because they don't want what they perceive to be that lifestyle to rub off. I'm a firm believer. If you train up your child according to the word and how you believe it is, then you might get a different return on investment. But I'll never teach hate, because
No,
to me, that moment that he displayed just a moment ago, that was a moment of hate. That was not
I
a moment. Go ahead,
respectfully,
Mario, bro.
respectfully, I have to disagree. And the reason why I will have to disagree is because we live in a time where protecting our children is even more important because the sense of community is gone.
Oh,
Right.
Back when I
absolutely.
was coming
Absolutely.
up, back when I was coming up, if you walk from since you say Morehouse, if you walk from walk down Lee Street, you pass three different neighborhoods, and in each neighborhood, your parents knew pretty much the entire community. So
Right.
everybody looking out for everybody. In this particular scenario, the reason why I say the father has the right to feel the way he felt, and I don't think it was his opinion. I think it was really his right to feel that way, is because ultimately, like I stated, his job is to protect. And if he feel like his homosexual brother is a hindrance to what he wants to raise, what he want his legacy to be, he has the right to protect that. Now, could we all gonna agree on this call that he could have on this chat that he could have did that totally different and it would have
Hmm.
been received. I think his delivery is outshining his message. You
Yeah, I
know,
agree. And let me add on to what you're
Well,
saying a little
Mario,
bit. Oh,
okay, anybody can hear. If you heard the man, if you were listening to him, he gave up a whole lot of YN.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he a young nigga.
Yeah,
yes,
he
yes,
gave up.
yes.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
so
and, and,
so
and you and
that
you
can,
and you know,
that can segue into what we spoke about earlier. He may not have no. He didn't have no
He
doggone.
don't know how to communicate.
Yeah, he don't know how to
mhm,
communicate.
Right.
He
is
don't. He
yeah,
didn't have no figure to person in his life that showed him how to convey something like that. All
and
he knows is the street way.
baby,
And
I'm gonna say
you
something
ain't
that you.
street way in your household because you're still trying to protect your kids because you're not teaching them nothing.
but it don't make him
Uh,
insensitive. That's what that's I think that's the point that I
well,
want to make.
I
It doesn't.
think
It
well,
makes him firm. It makes him firm in his stance, in my opinion.
but see, my thing is this: firming your stance is not conveyed with ignorance. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
for
true,
me,
true.
that's my thing. And so,
All
but
right.
also to Big Red's point, it is a lot of YN in that clip. But I tell people there are three categories: there's YN, there's GN, and then there's OG. You know, we ain't OGs yet, but I ain't no YN. A GN is a grown nigga. So you know, I'm in that GN place. And I think when you get to that GN category in life, it's like for me, and my question would have been, and I'm a devil's advocate for a second. Okay, that ain't what you want. That's what you want to protect. Okay, cool. But then what's your option?
He gave
'Cause-
one. Hold on. Because the option that he gave, I think, is the part that where this conversation is going to shift. Because she said, call your
Oh,
mama.
your mama. Yep,
Right?
yep, yep. I caught that
Mm-mm.
too.
He said, I'm not calling shit. Because you ain't going to motherfucking well. We in this together. You stay at home with me. Did y'all catch that?
He said it was gonna be a family.
It was going to be a family night. He sure
Because
did that.
because the context is she was trying to go out
Out.
with the girls night.
With the girls
with
night.
girls.
Right.
That's the context. So that's why I say in that particular situation, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and also I think my point is coming because I'm marrying into a family that's grew up in the Nation of Islam.
Okay.
So so right now I'm growing up and I'm understanding the importance of gender roles.
Uh-huh.
You know, if my lady got something to do, she don't just assume anything. She's gonna run it by me. She's gonna make sure I don't have nothing to do. I come from a different background, so I'm gonna always do what I can. I don't believe in only a mother stays at home. You know, I believe that to a certain extent, but
Right.
not when it's time for the mother to decompress with her friends, get some wine, and go have. You know, I believe in all that. But that particular night, he obviously wanted a family night because he said it. And he obviously told you, your ass ain't going nowhere. You stand in this house. That should have been, in my opinion, should have been in the conversation.
Well,
But
it
she,
should have been. It
but
should have been. However, here's where it became an argument for me. Because what it sounded like to me was that was your conclusion. Just because you were avoiding it, because you didn't say, "Oh, I'll keep the kids," or "I'll just stay here." Don't call your brother. I'll stay.
It was all about keeping her in the house.
It was all about
keeping her.
Right.
Go ahead.
It was more about control.
But no, not only that. Women have intuition. Men do too. And if you lived under that roof with that woman, he probably know that she was going to go to another YN factory.
Right.
He already knew that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He already knew that. So let me shut this down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that brother-in-law here is probably gonna watch that baby more times than ever.
Right.
It wasn't the first time he watched the baby. It definitely wasn't the first time he watched the baby.
You know, so now all of a sudden he want to be in the house.
He want to be in the house.
He's trying to stop up from knowing what he knows what he's going to do.
And there we go.
What he's going to do.
And there we go.
And I say this, and I'm gonna throw this out there because I definitely didn't hear it in the conversation, hear that this inflection be implied. But to me, if he was married to the woman, then the whole conversation would have been completely different, and it would have already happened offline, and it probably wouldn't have made the social media.
Right.
Okay, I was wondering where you was going with that. I had to sigh for a minute. I was wondering where the hell you was finna go with that.
Well, no, because I say it truthfully. You know, a man that's married to a woman, you don't get the same privileges of ownership or entitlement that you might think you have if you dating a person. Yeah, I believe that's my belief. I'm not. If I can say you're not doing this or we not doing this, but you have no formal commitment to the woman. So who are you to tell her where she can or cannot go? You know,
I'm the man of this damn house. I paid it. Now let's just assume because we don't know they live in. We don't know they live in arrangement.
Mario.
No, I'm just saying we don't know they live in arrangement. So let's just say he's a man.
If he was a YN, she probably was paying the bills for him. I'm just saying.
How
Go
about
ahead.
That's what I was just about to get to. Let's assume, because we got to take all the variables into it. So let's
Right.
assume that he was the type of man where, you know, he running the streets, and let's say he ain't even got no. Let's just put it in the average YN relationship when he probably, you know, running the streets selling dope, and she out here working, taking care of the kids at the same time. She probably already feel like he's busted up and ain't worth it anyway. So that's why she's for. Because let me tell you something. Any woman that respects a man ain't gonna talk to him at the way that she was doing.
Right.
So I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt of that. And now she's saying, nigga, I pay every bill in this house, and I don't care how you feel. You gonna stay here with this baby, or my brother gonna watch him.
Right.
You know, you take your pick. So in that scenario, it's still hard for me to side with her, because he has the right to feel like that when it comes to his child. It's his.
But he surely should have did though, brother. And I agree with you on that. The caveat is, if that's how he felt, he shouldn't. And assuming that they're not married, which it sounds like they weren't,
I
the
would just took my
implication
child.
should have been that,
Give
right?
my
I
motherfucking
was,
baby.
well, you get.
Give my
Nah, he
motherfucking
ain't
baby.
got to keep. I keep. You know.
I got you.
And then
Fuck y'all.
and then we know how that story would have went. She'd
Yeah.
have left the house. He'd have had the kid. And the child still would have ended up at his mama's house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's it.
And here's where all that is for me, because if you heard her conversation, she said, "You always do that with my brother. You always talk about this. And why do you think he's going to do that? That he ain't doing nothing, and he's the only somebody that's gonna watch my baby. Oh, he's gonna watch my baby. Yeah, my baby. He's gonna watch my baby. Okay." So we have that dynamic there, to where this has always been a problem.
Better quit while you're here.
Okay, this is
Sound
always,
like defects.
this is always a problem. And so now, in that particular situation, he had the right to feel how he feels, as misinformed as he is. Okay, but at the same time, him feeling that way, the way how that played out, and you just gonna shut everything down. Oh no, we're gonna have a family now, and blah blah blah. See, all that suggested that, no, nigga, you said that just to be saying it because, okay.
Yeah.
And so now, you know, for her retort to be, you always want to talk about something that ain't none of your business.
Absolutely.
Unless he hiding something himself that he don't want. Never mind. I'm done.
And okay, right. So that there is that. But the bigger question becomes, why is it? And Mario, you said something about protecting my family, protecting my legacy, and this, that, and the other. If you coming into this family and you know who I'm about, you know, been around me, and I got to accept you and your goddamn thuggish ass or whatever as the father of the child, okay, what is so difficult about you accepting me as the uncle? Okay, because we're family now through this child.
He sees. This is what I think, and when I look at those scenarios, I've seen them a few times over. The person, the person who goes like excessively hard about it,
Yeah.
either has their own, either they have their own, either they have their own secret about it, or they
Right.
have their own trauma about it.
Trauma about it. Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and that's just my logic, because I know, like I know me, I know my dad, I know my dad is we are men's men. He rough around the edges. You know, he's not as polished as I am in certain areas. But we have family members his age that that are gay or whatever, and he doesn't. Now he ain't gonna say nothing to them. Even when he talk about it in the car with my mother, it's not a loud, aggressive call out. They'll be I remember when I was younger, and my second cousin was holding my baby sister. I distinctly remember my dad watched my cousin, but he never said anything bad, or like and I think that's the difference between a YN and a child.
Right.
A grown man, a real man he's
Nah.
not gonna ostracize the moment to make a scene,
Absolutely.
because what you don't know is who else is gonna be in that environment when it happens, and then
Right.
that person reacts too. Because what I have found out now is that a lot of families today a lot more sensitive about the gay child or about the lesbian child or about the community child in the family that's growing up, that they overly protect that person. So
Right.
as the outsider coming in, you won't make it past the door threshold with that mindset. So I think for me, listening to that, what I heard, even if we remove the relationship piece, you know, you too goddamn hard. So then it go then I see, if for some reason Janet Jackson is popping into my head right now. Are you the one that does the bending, or are you getting bent? You know, because
Right.
you know. But
I
I
think
digress.
I kind of to answer Meech's point. Meech's question was about what is it about that the protection part. I think your legacy and why do if I can accept you as this thuggish ass YN, why can't you accept me as his gay uncle? I totally 100% see that point. I did not at first, so I'm gonna be a man enough on this call to say that never popped up in my mind until you said it. Because at the end of the day, and I'm a real father that really wants to do what's best for in the best interest of my child. So coming from me, I understand that, especially if my son loves, because he did clearly say it's clearly about a boy. So especially if my son loves his uncle, because you have to understand something. My son don't know gay and straight.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So he don't know that. Gay, teaching that's like racism. A child is not born racist. That's
Right.
taught. So a child being able to distinguish between what's gay and what's not, that either comes with time or is taught from an early age. And so I think that point is a very good one, Meech. Appreciate you for raising it, because I would have never in my life considered, well, damn, he still is my son's uncle. And no matter how much I tried my best to protect him from it and keep him from it, I'm not going to
It's
be
a
able to do
family.
it.
Right.
I'm
Okay.
not going to be able to do it. So I
And
definitely
if he's
understand that
that,
point.
and Mario, if he's that damn, excuse my expression, but if he that damn worried about his legacy, then he should be that.
Get,
Then he should.
getting
Then
itself.
the son should be seeing his dad overly. If you want your son to love women, then he should see you overly loving on a
Love his
woman,
mama.
or his
On the
mama.
Ab-
mama.
Right. But
Hello.
absolute.
but
Hello.
but when he
And
see
there
you
you
just,
have it. I'm
And
glad
there
somebody
it
said
is.
it.
And there it is.
I was waiting on somebody to say it because that's
we were
exactly
getting
what
there.
it is.
It took us a minute. We were getting there.
But here's, go ahead, Red.
No, because that's like I say, kids only imitate the atmosphere.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
If you want any reciprocation or exemplification or anything like that, you have to be the first to step forward as the adult in the family.
As the adult. Right.
Absolutely. So let me ask this right quick. I think I'm the youngest person. I'm 35. I'm the youngest person on this call, right? So it's amazing that I can still learn things from people about being a man. There's no way, Meech, had you not brought that up, I would have never ever and it's amazing. I would have never considered it. But at the same time, I want to be clear. I stand on the fact that he had the right to feel that way, though.
Yes.
And I agree. Everybody agrees. Yeah, we agree on that.
We're not saying
You said a whole lot with that. That was
listen. That there it's just like I'm not a traditional Christian anymore. In fact, I don't even like to use the word Christian when it comes to my belief because of what that word has done to many, many people. All right. I'm a believer. I understand who Christ is. But that doesn't mean because I feel this way that those who are traditionalists, that I close my ear off or whatever because I still hang out,
Right.
I don't push or try to correct them, okay, until they try to come up on me. Okay. And then we have to press pause, baby, because you don't want to go down that road with me. So we're not about trying to tell folks how not to feel or whatever, or that they were wrong for feeling that way, because let's just deal with the world. The traditional world is, most folks believe that the relationship is male-female relationships only, okay? And anything else that does not represent that, honey, there's going to be some kind of problem, right?
Yeah.
So that's fine. What ends up going on everywhere else becomes now we have to learn how to coexist. because now you don't have to accept me or whatever. But especially if we're family, and I got to put up with you, then damn it, you gonna put up with me, okay? In some way, shape, style, form, or fashion. So we got to learn how to coexist up in here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have to find where that happy medium is. Even if that means I only fuck with you at family reunions and family gatherings. You don't come over to my house because I don't want that over here. You know what I'm saying? And that may be a hard pill to swallow. But if that's how we gonna keep the peace in this family, then that's what it is. You know?
Well, let me raise this point, and I think I'm just gonna raise it, and then we don't have to really talk about it. This probably be a good subject for another show. I wonder, what if the brother was a sister? So what if she was a lesbian? How would the father have responded?
He wouldn't have had an issue unless she was a stud.
So that's why I said we probably ain't got to talk about it. It should be another show.
You know what? Yeah, because I'm gonna need my lesbian sisters up in here on that one, because I don't know that particular experience outside of the whole atmosphere of what that means. You know,
just know this, Meech.
What?
They go through the same thing.
Oh, I know that.
No. I'm just telling you from experience where I've overheard the arguments. Well, I've been outside waiting to pick somebody up, and I've heard the argument live in person. So like they go through it.
Yeah.
I think if I could just say this onto the whole narrative, at the end of the day, you know, you brought up a good point. Whether or not if I only fool with you at family reunions or I said people. I have people now. I don't treat any particular. The people I don't like in my family are very much heterosexual. Just because
it's always them.
I don't. They're always the issue. But I fool with them only at family reunions, family reunions and funerals.
See?
But one thing I will say, having gone to Morehouse, and I went to Morehouse in a season where same-sex marriage had not been approved, but it was on its way that direction.
Right.
And one of the things that I realized is that that going there during that season, well, the season before then, taught me, and just in general, growing up in Metro Atlanta, it taught me that I can be involved with coworkers that see their love life differently than I do. I can be involved with people outside of here. Sometimes I remember one time a friend of mine said, how can you have lunch with that person? I said, because me having lunch and our conversation about what I think it was politics has nothing to do with who they choose to sleep with at night. I love, that's not like, for me, I'm fine with whoever in life. I know how I live. I know me. I'm not trying to push my lifestyle on nobody else.
Nobody, absolutely.
Don't push yours on me. And that's
Absolutely.
how I coexist with people. I can,
don't sneeze on me, and I won't sneeze on you.
Exactly.
And if anybody is wondering, if anybody in the chat wondering, that's exactly how Meech is. Like, Meech is gonna be himself, and you either gonna like it, and get along with it, or you never got to talk.
You either gonna like it or you gonna like it. There is no other with me. Like you, I done learned that real quickly. You either gonna like it or like it. It's like so. And that's my take on I'm not gonna push mine on nobody, and I don't want you pushing yours on me. I remember one time, somebody asked me a question. Meets, I was this is about 15 years ago. Somebody asked me a question. They said, I was working at the Marriott, and they said, it was a guy, he was front desk, and I just hate overly aggressive people about whatever you believe in life. It ain't got to be sexuality, but I just hate when a person's overly aggressive about it for no reason, because there's a difference between being passionate and overly aggressive. And I'll never forget, that guy stood there and he asked me, he said, have you ever tried? I said, I'm not interested.
But
we can interact, we can talk, we can have a conversation, but just respect my damn doggone boundary. You know what I'm saying?
Let me
you can tell when that spirit is in the air.
Yeah.
You can tell the difference between somebody coming at you wrong or somebody just talking to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's chips.
Because it's shit. You can feel it.
Yeah.
Even he knows the situation that I went through because I don't play the radio when it comes to that.
Come
So
on
he
now.
knows I had a guy get out. Remember I told you about the gentleman?
Yeah.
I was at a restaurant picking up food for my family. And the gentleman pulled up next to me. And as I was getting out, I had planned on going out that night, so I was already dressed. So when I got out, he getting out, he had on a construction thing and everything. So he like, he looked over at me, and I didn't think nothing of it. I'm gonna walk on to the restaurant. He turns around and says, "Hey man," he said, "Man, you look good in that doggone outfit you wear." When he said that, I almost lost it. I was trying to kill him on the spot. So I was just like, I said, "Bro, I said, what you say to me?" And then he backed him up. No, I'm not gay. I'm not gay. What?
But see, it's all about self love. I'm gonna tell you a story, and this is a true story. God knows. I had my first apartment in Decatur off Columbia Drive, and I stayed by myself. And right across the hall from me, literally come out my door, 10 steps across the hall, was my neighbor, his girlfriend, KP, my big dog. Right. KP had a cousin. KP loved his cousin. His cousin was excuse my my metaphor, Meech, but his cousin was gayer than a $2 bill. I don't know why they say that anyway, but yeah, he was gayer than a $2 bill. But he used to come over. I was in the streets then. He used to come over to his cousin's house. And they used to come over to the house. I'm a great cook. His cousins and his girl used to eat at my house all the time. Cousins come eat. And one year for my birthday, I had a little cookout at my house, and a cousin, came to the cookout. Now I come from a family where nigga,
get a plate, honey, yeah.
Yeah, no, they don't play that shit. Don't even come around them. Like let me tell you something. I mean, the worst of the worst. They do not even want to see it. And so when Munzie walked in, I ain't mean call his name anyway. When Munzie walked in the house, my cousin instantly turned around and looked at me like, "You got a sense in me?" I'm like, "Hold on, bro. We're not gonna do that. That Munzie, that's KP cousin. He cool. You'll never know he gay if he wasn't so, if he didn't dress so tightly with tight clothes. Like, bro, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna disrespect him. Either y'all can leave, or y'all can stay and act like he's not even here. But I'm not gonna put him out simply because y'all are like that. Meech, you know what I do for a living. Zay, you know what I do for Red. You know what I do for a living. I'm in a position where I'm gonna deal with. I'm gonna be around people. Go ahead.
I think you can say we are in position because we do about the same thing. So
we all in positions where you have to learn how to deal with it. You have to learn how to be in the same form with them, how to communicate with them. You know what I mean? And when I'm saying them like they some objects, so I feel fucked up. But y'all know what I'm saying. Like you have to learn how to understand that what they do behind closed doors. And Meech, you remember when you was running for mayor? I'm the one. I don't know if everybody know, but I'm the one that came to you and said, "Hey, bro, they talking about this."
Right.
I'm the one that put you on game because it's the most idiotic thing to me. And I mean, it's 2020. And then another thing too, it's Atlanta, nigga. It's Atlanta. It's no matter where you go or where you look. So you have to learn how to do with it.
And we got and matter of fact, I think a participant of the community just got elected as mayor in a neighboring city. So y'all can research that on your own. But
look at what city I live in, South Fulton. Our mayor is gay.
I wasn't even talking about that one. I was talking about another one. But
I know what you're talking about too, so we're gonna let that go.
Right. But I was gonna say,
brother, chef right there.
And I thought, and for what it's worth, you talked about the way the person was dressed. I said to myself, I ain't even gonna lie, we were all in the same room Monday night, and we had discussed what we were wearing, and so when Meech walked past me, I said, you fabulous tonight.
It's finna be some shit. Then I said, boy, it's finna be some shit. It's finna be. This motherfucker done walked in here at 6'4" in black. Not two piece.
I told Meech, I said, look, Mario, I told him, I said, listen, we agreed on wearing black and white. So I assumed that he had a black base outfit with white polka dots. This joker came in with a white base with
Listen,
black polka dots,
listen.
looking
I'm gonna
like
tell you.
Cruella's cousin.
I'm gonna tell you how smart Meech is. I seen Meech last year at the Bite Awards in a black and white suit. So I know he had a black and white suit. But here's the thing: Meech spoke first. So
By design.
the statement had to be made from the beginning.
From the beginning, honey.
And when he walked up to that podium in that black trench coat, he see everything is by design. He walked all the way up there with the trench coat on. Wait till he front of everybody to take the coat off, bro. It's hey, when I tell you, I could have hit the goddamn floor. Man, it was so funny to me. Man, I laughed so hard, bro. I laughed so hard. See, here's the thing. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of having people in your life and especially in your professional life who think differently and operate differently than you.
Yes,
that's the beauty of it. Because you learn. What I learned from Meech on Monday night is that when you speak, you better let it be heard. I don't give a damn how you get the attention on you. I guarantee you from the beginning, from second number one, all the way, he spoke for 9 minutes. And I guarantee you, people didn't do nothing but sit there on their phones looking, or either in that they didn't get up and walk out.
Even the naysayers had to take note.
And so that's the beauty of it, and that's why I tell people open up your mind.
Wait, Meech, go ahead and say, tell him you want your money back.
Hey man, look, when he said that shit, he kicked out that left leg and threw that hand on that hip. And he looked at it and man, he said, and I want my money back. I said, oh shit.
I'll say this: everybody that made a statement Monday night had a spin move, but because he wasn't the first person that did the spin move. Somebody's husband came in and he spun around first, and we saw his army ensemble. And then when it was Meech's turn to do that comment section, and he spun around. And I said, oh, and Meech, you know I had been egging you on to be the first person. When he did that spin move and took that coat off, I said, oh, he is fabulous. And then I nudged the person beside me. I said, it's about to be showtime.
It's showtime. It's showtime, baby. You better tune in because it's gonna get good. And it's good.
I'm gonna tell y'all this live. All y'all some bullies.
Hey, no, we not. What we is, and this off subject, but I'm so I'm going to speak about it. What we are equal opportunists, because whenever it's the other side, and here's the kicker: I don't even live in College Park, but I love College Park so much that I will put my reputation on the line, my professional reputation. I got a stellar work career, stellar. I will put that on the line to make sure that the playing field is even. So much evil shit happens that you have to be that way. You have to be that way, and that's just what it is. And realize something: nobody on Monday night disrespected nobody. The mayor was not disrespected, but when the tables are turned and they talking about our lovely, in the words of Big Meech, Mayor Pro Tem 2025, Dr. Jamel McKenzie. When they talking about it's totally disrespect. So what we did last night, we showed people that you can criticize your government and your elected officials while maintaining order and respect. It wasn't no outburst. Yeah. We didn't have Michael Broom up there talking about some that's a big pile of horse shit. We didn't have none of that. We had none of that. So yeah, I know some may think it was the big. It was the greatest filibuster in College Park history.
Yes, God.
Yes,
God. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
I feel so privileged to be a part of it, even though I ain't speaking.
I'm so thankful that Meat started the conversation with his spin move. I'm so thankful. Your
Hey,
spin move
when he
spun out,
sent me, hey
spun the whole night up.
Zay, he sent a photo to me of what he was wearing. He said, "I'm gonna send you a picture of what I'm going out the door in." And when he sent the picture to my phone, I'm like this. I'm like, okay. I said, I hope he doggone got him. You know what I'm saying? And I opened up. I said, oh hell.
I'm he's been walking there in that black suit, man. I swear to God, I did. But he told us he was gonna wear it. But I thought it was just, shits and giggles. I thought he was just talking shit. That he put that motherfucker on for real, for real. And then he
I
had
told you when he
on that.
said the hat
Went
and
and
had it.
bought shoelaces, honey, because my black and white spectators, honey, had broken shoelaces. I said, "Oh no, I need these pumps."
Had that hat had a wider brim with a feather,
My
it would have been
God!
over
Oh,
with. Over
if
with.
I had a wider brim hat and I bought my handkerchief, see, that's what I didn't bring. I didn't bring my handkerchief on purpose.
Oh
I had to
God.
have my church towel back.
You've been waving the hell out of him.
Listen, these are the moments that I live for. I tell people doing the work that I do, living. I said I don't get to have. Well, it's fun. Everything is fun. Community is fun. But it's those moments when you get to serve it up, and you orchestrate it, and there's still, even in your orchestration, there are still elements of surprise, and that indeed was a surprise. Watching you walk in there like that was a surprise and a treat.
But
So
I wouldn't put it in a category as a surprise because it's meat. I
no,
mean,
no. The surprise
I watch
was the color pattern.
oh yeah. But I watch every Car Chronicle. So I didn't expect I watch every Car Chronicle.
You
And I
know,
try
only
to
that I
catch them
never
live. I try to catch
me.
them live. But I knew that it was gonna be something. Now Meech, Meech for the people in the chat, Meech was so good at his speech that the mayor had to sit in that for an hour and a half, 2 hours before she had a chance to address any of it. And when she did, she tried to play the victim and cry a little bit,
Mm.
And I'm not gonna say her tears wasn't genuine. I'm just gonna say I didn't believe the shit,
Right.
And
they were a tool. That's how it was a sympathy too.
so that's what we had with that. But we can get back on this dad thing because that was funny as hell, Beach. Good job.
Okay.
that was
Well, thank you guys, honey.
Thank
you. We had to do that, and I knew I had to set the tone. When I was first on that list, I said, "Ooh, bless the Lord." Okay. So now let's go here, and I think I'm gonna end with this. No. I think we got time for both of you. I'm putting them together. Let me play this particular video. Because I want y'all to hear this girl talk about her mother, but I want it to be about dad. So listen to this.
Sometimes your parents be calling you and they energy be so toxic. So the other day, me and my mama on the phone, and I could tell she was real agitated. And honestly, it was pissing me off because I don't think we be thinking about it like this, adult kids. Sometimes you are your parents' safe space. Your parents calling you, they're venting to you just like you would call and vent to them or vent to your friends. So stop being so judgy and really listen to what your parents are saying. So to me, because I'm coming from such I guess at that time, I'm trying to protect my peace. Y'all need to get that out y'all head too. Your peace is fine. Listen to what your mom and your dad are trying to say, right? I asked her, Mama, why are you so angry? What's going on? My mom was like, I'm going through menopause, but it went over my head. I kid you not, it went over my head because ain't nobody thinking about that. I felt like my mama was complaining. I was like, Mama, why you doing all this complaining? Then I slipped up and referred to her as being miserable. Oh my God. Why did I do that? Ain't nobody really educated nobody about how menopause is affecting anyone and how you should even handle your parents and be gentle with your parents when they are going through menopause or going through a change. And so I messed around, used the word miserable while I'm talking to my mama. Then we get off the phone, my stomach hurting and everything, because I do feel like the conversation really did shake me up a little bit because I just don't think I was in the right posture I needed to be in for her to dump on me and me not internalize it and take it personal and just listen. And so a few hours went by and I got on the phone and I texted her because I was working. I said, Mama, I shouldn't have called you miserable or nothing like that. Maybe I should have used a different word, and maybe I should have just listened. Long story short, I wasn't trying to hurt her feelings or nothing like that, but I did feel like I hurt my mama feelings when I did that to her. My mama was complaining a little more than she normally would, and I do know my mama going through a lot, but I was so caught up in me that I couldn't even be a safe space for her. And she literally had said, I'm going through menopause. And I'm just like, well, maybe she playing about it. Well, my mama 50 years old. She probably going through menopause. And so adult kids, y'all need to be a little more aware that your parents got some stuff going on. And if they calling you and the conversation kind of changing and you could tell their mood is different every other time y'all talk, be patient. Have a little grace, have a little mercy, and start also praying for your parents. Ask your mama if she complaining or if she angry. Mama, hey, what can I do to make your day better? I wish I would have just said in that moment, Mama, what can I do to make your day better? Instead, I'm calling her miserable, and I apologized about it, but I hope that this video lands on somebody's page. Be more empathetic with your mom. I'm so thankful that my mama feel comfortable calling me, but I hate how I responded, and it'll never happen again. I never get caught off guard like that again, ever. And I'm sorry, Mama, again.
All right, we're back. Mm-hmm. So now, here's the question. As a parent, are you comfortable, or could you ever get comfortable to where you allow your children to be your point of venting? Okay, do you give yourself permission to allow your children to be all up in your personal business, to go and
No.
rant and talk to them like you would your good girlfriend?
No, my parents in their 60s. They late mid. Actually, my mom is the same age as Mayor Pro Tem. No, my parents didn't do that. I mean, I fight them now when they go to the doctor because I want the reports. Because I don't want to. My greatest. I don't like the word fear, but my greatest concern in life is I don't want to find out that I only have a few days left with them, and I find out that they got a few days from them, but they've known for a month or 12 months or a year and a half, you know. And so and I never had that. My parents, they wanted me to stay in the child's place. And when I was an adult, they didn't tell me certain things early on. Even now they still don't tell me things because my dad always told me that if you live long enough, you'll have your own experiences. I don't need to inundate you with mine because his experiences are based on his decisions. So
Right.
I don't ever plan on becoming close enough to my well, I ain't say close. I am close, but I don't ever plan on becoming comfortable enough where I can tell somebody, I don't even like talking, sometimes I don't even like talking to the 20-year-olds because and the early 30-year-old people because they don't even understand. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it's one of those things, I know I'm different. I can sit at a table, sit in a room with people 10, 15, 20, 30 years my senior and still be fine with it. And and I have conversations with folks that are in some instances twice my age or double my age. But I don't but as it relates to me and my child, I don't ever my child, I'm friendly with my child, but my child will never be my best friend. They will forever be my best broke friend, no matter how much money she may grow up to make in life. But but
Uh-oh. You know
my
what you're
opinion.
Wait a minute. Hey, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can
there
y'all
we
hear me?
go. Uh-huh.
Okay.
You went to that. Yes.
The moment that my child views me as the moment that my child views me as her friend is the moment that she also begins to question she also has the posture to question what respect looks like. Because we will disrespect our friends. We will lose respect for our friends. And we change our friends out in and out by season. But we do not change our family, and you do not change your parents out. So can't speak for Mario, but I just know for me, I don't ever want to be. I don't even want to vent and be my sounding board. Sounding board, that's not her place. God didn't, in my mind, God didn't design my child for that.
Okay. Okay.
For me, it's a little, it's like two-parted as well. As the son, I will hope. Now it's for my dad. I'm going through something right now with my dad, and I know I'm not right for saying this, and y'all, all three of y'all might finna ready to jump down my throat, but I can take that shit. I don't give a goddamn if I speak to him again a day in my life. But that's because I'm mad, and I know I'm mad, and I get over that shit. But my mom is a little bit different. I don't give a damn what my mama going through. My mama only have 3 boys, so my mama feel like we literally are her protectors. And at first, my mom didn't tell us stuff about doctor visits and personal things. But back about maybe 7 years ago, my aunt died, and her boys were the same exact ages as my mom boys, and she, like Zay just described, where she dealt with something secretly, counseled secretly, and didn't tell her boys and we didn't find out literally she had it until she was in the grave. So, and ever since then, my mom has been way more open with her with personal matters. Now, me as a dad, I never want to be that burden on my children. I'm supposed to carry my children's burdens. My children are now supposed to carry my burdens. So certain things I will never discuss with my children, simply because it ain't their damn business.
How about that?
There's no other reason why. But because I am a male, and I date women and they are women, there are some conversations that I have to have with them that can become a little personal, such as how I treated their mom. I had to come clean with my 17-year-old about how I treated my first baby mama, because she asked me, why didn't me and her mom, and she's not mine biologically, but her dad is in prison for the rest of his life, and I've been there since she was 3 months. But she wanted to know what happened between me and her mom, the reason why we had a point to where we don't even like to be in the same air with each other, let alone room. And I had to come clean, I had to sit and I had to have that grown person conversation. And I think from that moment up until now, I think that we have had way more intimate conversations, and it has allowed great things. She's decided that she wanted to be when she told me she was bisexual, and I was the only person she felt comfortable enough to tell that to. She didn't even tell her mom, and her mom is her biological mother. So I can see that from both points. I can see the positivity that having those open discussions bring, but I can also see why certain things as a parent you just don't tell your children, because it can really, it could change their outlook. When I found out about my dad, and that's kind of got a lot to do with why we not speaking today. But when I found out about how my dad was, living his life as a preacher, and the type of stuff he did to not only my mom but my first stepmom, and how he was when he first got into the ministry, and when I learned all of that, the true history of my dad, I became a little bit more rebellious. And this only happened within the last few years when I started finding everything out. But I became a little bit more rebellious towards his direction, and then when we tried to, just a couple of weeks ago, he say he mistakenly called me, but he didn't mistakenly call me. And I called him back, and he wanted to have a general conversation. I'm like, well, we need to approach the situation we going through before we could just sit on the phone like we buddy. So when he called me back, he had his wife on the phone. I guess that was to try to get me to be more respectful than what he knew I was going to be. And but then we was talking about it, and I was being honest with him, and I told him that about this situation. You lying. And I use the word lie, which, you know, in black household is a curse word when you're using it to your parents. But I use the word
Lord,
lie.
you just cussed at the man.
Yeah, yeah. And he went into daddy mode. You ain't going to talk to me that way. And of course, yeah. And of course, I told him, nigga, I pay my own bills. I take care of my own kids. I'm grown. I'm going to talk to you how I feel like you deserve to be talked to. And he said something else. And before I knew it, and I know I'm wrong for this, y'all, but I said, nigga, F you to my dad. And here's the thing about me and my dad. I think this is important for context. When we were teenagers and kids, my big brother always saw my dad as he is now, as I see him now. My big brother never, but I was the son. I wanted to be just like my dad. I'm talking about when I was a kid, I wanted to be a preacher and everything. I'm a singer. I ain't want to tell you that, Mitch, but I followed my dad. I mean, to church. I'm the one that sung for him before he preached. When he went out, I joined junior deacon board. I wanted to be just like that nigga. I want to be just like him. So for us to have this big fall now, my whole family is surprised, and surprisingly, they all said we're gonna let y'all work that out. We're not getting in the middle of that. And I thank God for that, because it's teaching me, you know. And I'm gonna be real. Me and my dad had such a great. I miss my daddy. I miss my dad to death, but I could not allow him to feel like this goes back to the initial conversation. I don't matter. You know, I matter. I'm the matter because when you ain't have nobody, you stayed with me. When all your wife put you out, and I'm the one that no matter what had my daddy back and always seen the good in him, always defend him. My mom used to always tell me, my mama, one thing I can say about my mama never she used to always say, y'all will see when y'all get older. And God knows we did. So I'm saying all that to say I love my dad, but yeah, I couldn't allow him to see me in that light anymore as a kid. And I need for him to understand that I'm old enough to have a mature conversation. And if you can't talk to me in a mature manner without going into daddy mode and forcefully, you know, because, you know, one thing about them preachers, and sorry, youth pastor, but one thing about them preachers, they love to take that Bible and try to whoop you with it. But here's the kicker. I know it. I ain't gonna say I know it as much as he do, but I know how to use it to my defense too now. So that's the beauty in it. So, you know, maybe after this conversation I may think hard about, you know, trying to mend that again. But yeah, so that video is interesting because you know, as kids sometimes we don't understand how we affect our parents by the little things that and when I told my dad, nigga, I can only imagine how that made him feel on the inside.
Let me offer you this as comfort, okay? Because those of us who had to deal with the reputation of our fathers, right? And having to come to the reality of our fathers not being the men that either we thought they were, we dreamed they were, we fantasized they were supposed to be, or whatever the case may be. Allow yourself time to grieve the deaths of your vision. Okay? Because you're going to have to accept him for exactly who he is, especially now that you've got truth. Because he is who he is and was. All of those experiences have made him who he is today. Okay? So give yourself permission to grieve the vision that you had of what you thought he was supposed to be to you. And then learn how to accept who he is. When you get there, it'll be so much easier because then you will start to appreciate his life. Because for whatever reason, that was his journey. I'm gonna tell you, for me, it took me forever I held on to a lot of anger with my dad because he was abusive. You know, he was very abusive with my mom. He was cross addicted. He drank alcohol. That was his main thing, but he was drugging at the same time too. Okay. So his whole thing was, you know, he had the strong arm or whatever. Over the years and carrying on, I have always had this animosity toward my dad because he was never there. I raised your damn kids. Okay, because you wanted to run the fucking streets. So because of that, it wasn't until when I moved here in 07, it was Father's Day. I'll never forget this. Father's Day, and my brother called me, and he called me, and he wished me a happy Father's Day, right? I said, what was you talking about? And he said, he said, don't get brand new with me. He said, you was always like our daddy does. He said, so now you my daddy brother. You're my DB, so happy Father's Day. And that, I'm a crybaby, so, I'm trying not to cry in front of we're on the phone with him. I said, okay. Well, there was a song that came on the radio. I listened to a gospel station, and it was Kiera Sheard singing her grandmama's song. And the song said, if he don't do nothing else, he's already done enough, because he done good.
Mm-hmm.
And every time she kept saying that, my father's face just kept popping in my head, right? And I was like, oh, wait a minute, and it hit. It hit. I was like, wow. His assignment wasn't to raise me. His assignment was to get me here. And when I accepted that year, I called my father for the very first time without obligation, without, trying to make sense of it. And I absolutely gave him a happy Father's Day for real. Right. And so that was when my relationship with my father started to grow. And after we lost my brother, we were in a place that we've never been before, right? So that took us there. And so, Mario, I offer that to you because you now have to allow yourself to give yourself permission to accept him for who he is. Just like I had to accept with my daddy, I had to accept him for who he is, and not the fantasy of the man I made him out to be. So boom. So give yourself time to, because I call that a death. You're experiencing a death of some sort, because this is not the man I know. All that is not the man I know. And we gotta. Somebody turn you. I got a feedback coming. I got a feedback coming.
Is it from me?
Might be. Turn your volume down. Might be. Turn your volume down.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you good. That's perfect. Yeah, you good. That's perfect. Well, it will be.
Yeah, I think for me, I have I kind of hinted to that. I kind of learned that on my own, that I have to, open up my heart to understand that even though he is this man of God, that I have to understand that he was still human. I think my issue, and I think a lot of black men issue, is that once we reach a certain age of maturity, the masculinity, and I know you hate that word. I know you.
No,
the masculinity in us won't allow certain undertones. You just can't, even as a son, I deserve a certain respect.
And that's the word. That's the word, because it's not necessarily masculinity, it's respect.
Hold on, Meech. Mario, I think your AirPods are still like connect. It's something about when you reconnect it back to the car. That's where the feedback's coming from. I don't know if it's your AirPods or if it's your car.
Let me put these back on and see. Let me see. How did this sound? Does it sound better?
That's better.
Well, it's yep, that's it. Yep.
Okay, cool.
All right, go ahead, Meech. I'm sorry.
No, it's respect, because now you have become the man that you are. It's beyond that of being masculine. It's beyond you are a grown ass man now. And it's like, okay, you know what? As a man, you will see me and treat me as such, you know, and you're going to demand respect from me because you're going to pull the I'm your father card. But I'm going to demand respect back because I'm a grown man. Yes, I'm your son, but I'm grown. And I could easily walk away from this and leave you the fuck alone, you know, and not be a part of your life because I have a choice now. See? And out of respect of that and it's respect. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it is. So about that video, I definitely see like I said, I definitely see the importance of keeping that line of communication open with your kids, but at the same time, I think there should be boundaries. I don't think that certain things shouldn't be put on the children. I just don't. I wouldn't bother certain things. I would never bother my kids with, but certain things I have to talk to them about as a dad. So that's my stance on that video. Yeah, that's where I'm at. What about you, Red? I would love to hear your take on that video.
Well, to be honest with y'all, you all kind of nailed it all my what I feel about it, but there's no I'm sure y'all can agree with this. There's no handbook to parenting.
Right.
No.
There's no handbook to parenting, and there's no binder that can hold all the experiences that we do collectively across our nation.
Say that.
You know, and everything that we do is a hit and miss.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, you know what I'm saying, if you allow the father to be your father and you trickle down that same type of godly love that he trickled through his son, and you just use that, you know what I'm saying, which is a powerful love, nothing more powerful than that. If you just use that and approach everything like that, then you can tether through all of your luggage from your childhood. You can tether through, you know what I'm saying, all experiences that you've done had that sent you to a different realm of approaching things. But it's about having some type of foundation to stand on. And sometimes we got to make our own way because, like you said, everybody is inputting your life for a different reason. We don't write the book.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
You know, our steps are written for us.
Right.
So another thing too, we need to learn that everything that we go through in life, it's not for us.
That's right. Say it.
It's for somebody else. You understand what I'm saying? We don't. It's like this. Your experiences that you have had dealing with your own parents were set up. It was like you went to the gym in order to know what type of doggone situation to put and pour into your own family or pour into a child that's not even your family.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I have saved, since I've lived in Atlanta, I've saved a couple of guys that's grown men that's married now, positive, pulled them straight out of drug dealing and street running and gangbanging. And now they happily married with children and got careers and everything. And God put that in me and poured it on me to do it. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes there are things that we go through and everything it ain't about us. It's about somebody else. You never know what you're going through or how you're going. That's why I say this parenting thing is highly opinionated. There's no book for it. Okay. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to I can't browbeat nobody and tell them they're wrong about the decisions they make based on their kids.
Right.
Because to me, how many kids have you met in one neighborhood? And Mario, I know you've been around us. So how many kids you met in one neighborhood and you can pull 5 of them out there and all of them got 5 different stories from the same neighborhood?
No, that's a common trend there.
All their parents are in the same tax bracket. But they got 5 different stories.
Whole stories. Yeah.
So again, guess what? There's 5 different approaches from mother or father. Fatherless or motherless. Because I know a gentleman in my life that raised 2 boys and a girl by himself. Because the mama walked out on all 3 of them with Pampers. He raised them and got them through college. All because she said she wanted to be in the streets. So it's just to me, it's circumstance. We all are victims of circumstance.
I think that's a good summary.
How we handle it is exactly doggone how we live it. You know what I'm saying? Let's raise our kids up to not be better than how we were taught, but to be ready for what's given out here in this world.
Exactly. And also in knowing, now I'm gonna be very transparent here. My siblings were my children, and then I done adopted the world, so I don't have any biological children, but honey, I done raised kids all of my life. So as a dad, and in gay world, I'm a mother too. But being that this here has been about nurturing, I'm a nurturer. You know, I'm a hands-on kind of nurturer. I'm no nonsense, you know, but at the same time, I'm one who like to sit and explain. Okay, and once I explain it, then that's one thing. But if we got to keep having this conversation, then an ass whooping is about to ensue because I don't like repeating myself. Okay. But it's all about how we deal with each individual child. Because I think oftentimes we like to take and either paint the canvas one color, or we think that it's just a wand, honey, and all the children, if you have more than one, are going to, be treated the same way. And you can love them the same, with the same love, but the treatment is going to be different because each child is its own unique personality and its own unique person. So once you learn each particular child, then you learn how to deal with one, because one may deal with hollering while another may deal with the punishment. If you take away privileges, honey, you got their attention. Okay.
But Leach, we bumped heads with this.
Well,
you know how you say about my firmness, you know what I'm saying? You try to, you know what I'm saying? I don't coddle. I don't do the coddling.
Right.
So so when you say about my firmness, and I don't think it's that I'm a firm parenter. I think I'm a parenter that don't like to revisit the same situation.
Here's what it is.
So therefore, I do stuff to where we don't have to go there again. It happened this time. This is how I'm addressing it. I don't want to talk about it no more. We're not going to visit this more. We're not going to.
And this is why I say the firmness in it, because your directness is all or nothing. And I'm not talking about this no more. You're going to do it, and you'll get it right, and that's it. And
indirectly, you're going to make the mistake happen again. Indirectly, you're going to make the mistake happen again.
But don't you think? Don't you think? But from a person who, let me tell you something. I had a mouth. When I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Oh shit! You couldn't tell me a goddamn thing. I thought I knew everything. I'm talking about. And God knows, if I'm ever regretful for anything, it's the way that I talked to my mother and my grandmothers when I got upset as a teenage boy. But here's what I had to learn. I had to learn shit the hard way.
Oh, yeah.
I had to learn. I had to continue to make the same damn mistakes to learn that. And look, some off. Like.
Okay, so you one of them hard knock children.
I was one, but I learned. Like I said initially, I had to learn. I learned a lot within the last 5 years of my life. I have really learned a lot. I've learned some stuff that as a teenager I thought I would never understand, like how to shut the fuck up.
Right.
You know, like how to shut the fuck up. You know, let me tell you something. If the heat that I take online from some people. You know, Meech, you know what I'm talking about from College Park. From College Park, I would not be in the seat talking to you right now. They been on wipe their hands with me and everything. But this point is to Red's point. I get the fact that look, as a dad, I don't want to keep repeating myself, son. You need to understand what I'm trying to tell you. You need to grasp it. You need to learn from it. However, he might just be that child that have to learn the hard way. That's a real thing. And as parents, we
Yeah.
really need to understand that you can raise. Let me tell you something. My grandma got 5 children. My grandma got about 22 grandkids, 19 of us boys. I only got 3 girl cousins on my dad's side. All of us was raised in the church. Every single one, especially her 5 children. But there's only one that stuck with it. So all 5 of them was raised the same exact way. Same love, same discipline, same structure, same everything, same dad, all 5. But one stayed with it. The rest of them had to find their own way. So you have to let kids, you have to let them sometime. Now, I do believe in our community, in the African American community, and I'm gonna talk to Zay about this offline, and you fellas, but I do think we need more males in our community, out front.
Yes.
Out front. I think it's too many young, the water boys. That shit irked my nerves. It irks my nerves so bad. I just feel like it's unstructured, and that's another thing that we missing today. We missing structure, so we have to get back to that. Because I'm gonna tell you about the old way ain't never failed nobody. It ain't never failed nobody. The old way worked, because look at us today. Look at us today. So we have to understand. We have to tell the youth that it's okay to make these mistakes. It's okay to fuck up. It's perfectly okay. It's what you do after you fuck up. You're gonna learn from it, or you're gonna keep on. That's like people that continue to go to jail for you get out, you do 1 year, you get out 3 months, now you're back in for 1.5 years. You get out for 6 months, now you're back in for 2 years. Then you get a long stint, then you come back. That's a mental thing. When you're not learning from your mistakes, that's mental.
Right.
That's something wrong in your brain.
Right.
That's something, what I mean? So I get what you're saying, Red, but damn, you ain't got to be that firm, man. Let them make the mistake. They have to make it. They have to
a lot
make
of that too. The path that I give him is that is military.
Well, that's all he know though. That's all he know though.
And that's the thing. See here when we're talking about the parenting issue and talking about men, again, going back to our fathers, our grandfathers, and carrying on, that's all they knew, right? And so now, not necessarily trying to correct it, it's trying to understand it, because now I get I was working at a school just before moving here, and it was a second chance high school. That shit. Everything up in there. Ain't no one over the age of 21. 16, 17-year-olds coming up in there. They street little thugs or whatever, and just how they bouncing and how they interacting. Yeah, I got kids, and proud. But didn't know shit from Shinola. And all of a sudden I saw my dad. Because my dad was a 4 months into being 16 when I was born. My father's birthday is November 26th. Mine is March 4th. He had just turned 16. Okay. March 4th, I'm here. He's 16, going on 17. This motherfucker didn't know shit about no damn kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? By the time, so he's 16, by the time he's 21, he got 4 kids.
God damn, Papa was a Rolling Stone.
Okay. So it's like, what? Hello. And what's that? No, wait a minute. No, he's 25. Because Mama was 27. No, wait a minute. I was 7. Mama was 27. She's 3 years old. He's 24. So he's 24 by the time my sisters are born. My sisters were born in 77. So yeah, he's 24 with 4 kids. Okay. Trying to make it happen, trying to be this and all of that, and then trying to forge his way. Because why? He and my grandfather did not get along. You know what I'm saying? And when I was born, my grandfather he was color struck. Okay, as a dark-skinned man himself, he did not want any of his boys dealing with dark-skinned women. He had 10 boys. My mother is mocha chocolate. Okay, When I was born, I was male's color. Okay. And my grandfather told my dad, get that bastard child out of my house, because ain't nothing that light come out of nothing that dark. So that's my world. Okay. So you talk about a man or a teenager who's already having problems with his dad, who was on the streets at 12. My father told me that later. He got out on the streets at 12, trying to fend for himself. You're a father at 16, and again at 19, and then again at 24, about to be 24. Okay, with 4 kids. You try to make it happen. All you know is the streets because you on a hustle. I told you I had to raise the kids because you out in the streets. What you know, I did not connect those dots until I was much older. But then I had to learn how to accept him for who he is. This.
But
So
but on
now, as we move along, it's like, okay, this is what the world is. And how do I be a better father so that I don't repeat the same mistakes?
But as a father though, don't you think that your I ain't gonna say you don't owe your kids anything. But as a father, don't you think your children deserve understanding that they just don't know and this is just what they want? Because we often find ourselves sometimes saying that, like you've alluded to it a couple of times on this call. You said you have to accept him as he is. But we have to also understand that on the flip side to that, as a kid, I don't know how to accept you as you are. All I know is that you are my dad, and I have this grand picture in my head about how my dad is, how my dad's supposed to be.
Right.
Sometimes it even contribute to your friend's dad or the TV dad. Everybody wanted a Bill Cosby as a dad.
That's your generation. We all wanted James Evans.
Okay, James Evans for y'all. It was Bill Cosby for and Uncle Phil.
Right.
That's what we wanted. We wanted, but at the same time, not all dads had that ability. My dad was a truck driver for one, and he was a preacher for two. So there's two demanding jobs. And my dad was an over the road truck driver. He drove for overnight before FedEx. So my dad was always. So I give him the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, maybe you didn't have time to come get us on Friday, so you had to come get us on Sunday morning or Saturday night just to go to church, and you drop us off back at home. I do thank him for giving me that structure of going to church, but at the same time, I should not have been 30 years old finding out about who my dad really is on the inside, and he wasn't this person that I had made up in my mind. I do feel like we have to give our kids understanding and say, look, I don't understand you. You didn't know. You didn't know who I really was. However, this is who I am, and let us work at building a better relationship and you learning how to, because I can't change. I'm too old. We all know once the older you get, the harder it is to change who you are. So
because we become indoctrinated in it. We will change the behaviors that we want to change as we get older. Okay, because we have certain goals. Okay, those things that we don't want to change because we won't change it because we like what that has become. We like it. It's easier to be evil than to accept that. No, to accept the world in a different light. But to your point, we're dealing with understanding and carrying on. That there is when how we come out of our pubescent era and come into our young adulthood. Because now we start paying bills, and then you start to hear your parents come out your mouth.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's when you start to understand what the struggle is, when the struggle is real and this, that, and the other, right? Go ahead.
Let me get with Mario here. Look, when you like 3 and 5 age, where you started paying attention to stuff. Start building that image that you're talking about of your dad. Well, my story, I'm at that age at a Christian academy, right? The lady said something to me I didn't like. And I told her that if she talked to me like that again, I was going to call my dad up here to do something to her. And she looked at me and said, what? Now think about the age I said, right? I told this woman that my dad, check the cliche. I said my dad was a pimp and my mama was a white woman. This is what I said to this teacher. So at this point, I'm in the dean's office. They called my parents up. Okay, I'm messing up the school. Oh, he definitely coming. But my mom show up. Now, we're standing out in the courtyard of the school. Could you imagine the look on these people's face, these educators? When my dad pulls up and he in a brand new stretch Cadillac, red, fire engine red, white leather top on it, white leather interior. And then my mom pulls up behind him in a Camaro. New. She gets out. She's not white. She's light-skinned. Right? So they got this look on their face that what is really going on in their household. Not knowing that the household is not the same. They never stay in the same house.
Right.
For that to be where I started mentally, and then for me to grow and end up walking down the street and people scared across the street, they across the street when they see me coming, or they playing with me like, the older cats want to play slap box with you, and the one that don't know push you, and everybody else be like, hey, man, that's third son, yo. And they be like, oh, that's third son. Oh, I'm sorry, little man, can I buy you some candy? It's like everybody jumping and stuff, scared to death. Where do you think that started putting me as I'm growing?
Right.
Because next thing you know, I was king of the neighborhood.
Right. Okay. He realized what his power was having.
But here's the problem. Was that the way to really be? Because he would never show this to me. Pop didn't show this to me. He just show up for what he's requested to do, or what I needed, and then he out. Now, when it got to the point where I was older and he wanted to, my mother was like, okay, you take over the Rams for high school, right? I really ended up at my grandparents' house. Well, he stayed in the building too, upstairs. So my grandfather bought this whole building for the family. But now I'm looking at he 100% grinder and hustle in the streets. He gone early and come in late. I really never seen him. It's always about them. I'm really raising myself with them, right? The guidance of my grandparents and mine. So when you think about it, who did I mimic? I mimicked my grandfather because he was the only military person there.
Okay.
And that's what I'm talking about when we imitate our atmospheres growing up, because he led with my word is heard and the conversation is over.
Okay.
So I have to say, that this right here has helped me realize where I really pulled that from. Because the simple word is hey. When chaos is going on in the house,
we'll stop it.
Yeah. It's over. It's over. You better not even have one of them words, but that's all
yeah, that it makes sense. It makes sense. And I give you credit for that because that's all you know. So I definitely give you credit for that. I think because I come from that multi-dimensional father figure. Not only I have to give my dad credit and say I'm not gonna say he wasn't in my life. He definitely was there, But he was
No,
like, I
my
said, he was
dad was
there.
there, but he was not like.
Yeah, he
It
was.
was
He
like,
was there. He was at his convenience, and he was only my dad. You know, I went to high school 4 years. I wanted to go in the military as a kid. I had asthma though, so when I got in high school, I overly excelled in ROTC. Like I overly excelled. My dad ain't never show up for none of my award ceremony or drill competition. He never showed up for none of that. You know,
well, I mean,
however,
mine got me through high school, Mario. When I say he kept his foot in my tail, because he was very intelligent.
that's
He
what I
was
was about
very
to
smart.
say. That's what I was about
And I'll
to say.
say he got me through high school, but he never saw me graduate. He passed away.
See, mine, he got me through high school because my dad didn't play about school, but
Right.
he didn't care about the extracurricular. His thing was science, social studies, math, and language arts, reading. You know, the four main. I don't raise no dummies, and he used to tell us that all the time.
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
raise no dummies.
Right.
At one point in time, my dad, but he wasn't there for what I wanted him to be there for. He was there for what he needed to be there for.
Right. The basic skills.
That's it.
That go back to what you were saying. I'm here to protect and to provide.
And provide. Yep.
Provide. And so again, that's what he knew.
Yeah.
And he definitely protected me. He didn't allow nobody, not even his sister. My auntie was like a mother to me because she had no kids. I was like her only child. But I promise you, if it came to her call herself raising her hand,
my dad. Oh, yeah, my dad too. I remember my dad and my auntie, and it's our favorite auntie, and it's our auntie that we credit on our dad's side for pretty much bringing us up. My aunt, and she's all of our favorite aunts. I remember plenty of time, and my auntie always been bigger than my dad, so it wasn't like he was just finna run up and just beat the shit out of my auntie. My auntie done put him through walls, put him through China cabinet, everything. My auntie don't play that shit. But I remember, you know, very, 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 very much how he used to book up at my aunt's about us. Like he protected us and he provided what we needed. He wasn't the type that went out and bought Jordans, and he wasn't the type that go out there. You finna walk around here with some Jay-Z gold cologne, none of that. But you're gonna have on some shoes, you're gonna have on some decent clothes, your hair gonna be cut and combed and brushed, and your face is gonna be greased up. You're gonna look presentable. So I have to give him that credit. But my uncle is the one who taught us about manhood, and he always taught us to keep your plan B. So I had to get over this goal into having multiple women. I had to really get through that in my life. Like that was a struggle for me up until I met my fiance. You know, I ain't never had just.
Ask you, Mario, how'd you deal with that? Because you mentioned that slightly before, like cracking a little funny about it. But how did you deal with that? I'm talking about with the little transition of one ladies' man to that.
It's hard, bro. It's hard. It's even hard to this day. But here's the thing, and this is the God honest truth. Lord knows, I don't deserve the woman that's in my house. Lord knows I don't deserve that woman. I'm forever grateful to Allah God for giving me that woman, because she changed me for nothing but the better. But before her, including my first kid's mama, I was the definition of a dog. I didn't play, and that's just the God, and I'm not bragging to my own horn, but I ain't never had a problem with that. And how I got over it is when I realized I was close to losing everything that I stand for now. When I realized that it was nothing in the streets worth or bigger than my family, that changed me, and it changed me overnight. I used to chew, and this is a admission that I don't like to tell people, but I used to chew. I'm from the country. Well, my dad from the country. I used to chew tobacco. I used to dip snuff. Yeah, I used to dip snuff, and I stopped cold turkey. I stopped cold turkey one Thanksgiving Day. I just threw the whole can away and I stopped. I became a one ladies man the same way I stopped chewing that tobacco. I literally just stopped it, and I made up in my mind that the woman that I have in my house is the most important thing to me outside. Well, I ain't even gonna say outside, because I can have more kids. I hate to say that, I can have more kids. I ain't gonna ever find another one of her. You know, so she means just as much to me as my kids mean to me, man. And
but you made you made that statement to yourself. And I tell people all the time, when you decide in your own mind that you're not gonna cheat on this woman.
Oh shit, well,
Yeah, you
we
see that, right?
we know now that we know the wallet.
So,
But yeah, that caught me all good. But back to all seriousness. I really made that decision. Hey Webster, we appreciate you, brother. But
for sure.
I had to really make that the decision in my heart that, you know, this ain't. And my uncle always taught us, keep your plan B, and don't trust him. Don't trust him. But then I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you another thing that really helped me. The honorable minister Louis Farrakhan. He's been married to Khadijah for over 6 years. Woman. And I didn't have that. I never in my life seen. I never seen that. My uncle taught me that, man. He had 2 kids, 2 baby mamas, all had children, and all got along. I mean, I remember one was before I was born. I remember plenty of time started together at our house. I remember it. My dad, you know, my dad had my mama, my stepmom. He's married now. He's had women in between. My dad has always had women. I've never seen one man to that faithful. And then when I heard a lecture by the minister Louis Farrakhan, I think it was Becoming a God or something like that, and he talked about it. And I said to myself, and everybody knows Minister Louis Farrakhan is a man's man. And down in nobody. I found out that you could be a man and that you can look like a man and that you can present yourself to the people as a man and the people will accept you as a man and it don't involve having 2, 3, 4 women. That's when I knew it could be done. And I made up in my mind, man, that, you know,
but
I had
the
my
statement
own.
the statement you're making that I'm getting at is you made up in your mind. And I tell people all the time, you'll make a decision to not cheat. My last wife, right? I made a decision not to cheat on her. Okay, no matter what situations or pressures I was in or what I was around, regardless of what folks thought was going on because of my atmosphere, my environment. But everybody know when I'm out there hustling the street, what you saying always what you get. You can see me with 1,000 women, but I'm not sleeping with none of them. You can see me in a private meeting with a woman, and she'll tell you to your face she ain't slept with me. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's because I made a promise to myself.
Right.
Not to hurt.
Yeah, you can't do it. You can't do it until you. Yeah. You can't do it until you make it up in yourself. You can't do it for nobody else. You know, I mean, other people will help you. Like my 3-year-old daughter helped me realize, like, damn, I don't want nobody to treat her like I treated these women in the past. So she added to that. But the thought itself started within me. And I mean, I couldn't have did it until I thought I can do it. And now that I know that I can do it, it becomes easier every single day. It's still hard.
I've been in some situations. I have been in some situations where if you walked in the house and walked in the door, it'll look like I was doing everything I had no business. But if you actually came into the space without nobody knowing you was in the space, you'd look real crazy because everything you thought would have been out the window. Because there's always like somebody wanted to pour their heart out to me and counsel to me. And I'll be sitting way across the room somewhere while they talking.
Exactly.
Yeah, you got to make it up. You got to make it up in your mind, man. I mean, and here's the thing. And here's another thing too. Our black women, no matter how much, let me tell you something. Men really dropped the ball in the last 40, 50 years. I got to give. That's on us. We dealing with that as men. We healing from that. We coming back. But don't not treat the black man worse than the black woman. And no matter how hard it is to be a black man, black woman, our women need us because the most unprotected person, the most unprotected group of people in this earth is black women. They need us, bro. They really need us to understand who we are. And I think that when you sleep with 3, 4, 5 different women, you still haven't learned who you are. Like you still dealing with something internally, you know, because if you love a person, you love a person. And unconditional love is just that, unconditional. There's no limits and no limitations. There's no conditions on that love. Black women need us back. However, they have to be willing to accept us back as we are. And I don't think a lot of them do. A lot of them want us to be like me. me and my dad, they got this made up idea of what a man is, and they want us to
We're starting to lose you.
we know how to be. You starting to lose me?
Yeah.
Go ahead do your thing.
You got power in your headphones or whatever.
Come on, let me do this. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying that they need us, man, and we got to make up in our mind that we want to be there, and it's not gonna change until we make it up. Everything starts within when it comes down to being a black man in 2025 in America. We got to want better for ourselves, and until then, nobody's gonna respect us, man.
I want to add this, and then I'm gonna let us go because yeah, we can go all night. But here's the other thing with that as men, and regardless of your orientation, you have to be honest with yourself as to what it is that you want. Because one of the things about the so-called American dream or whatever this is, not everybody's cut out to be married. Not everybody's cut out to have to be parents, even though those who are strict traditionalists are under the fact that you need to be fruitful and multiply. However, there's other ways of multiplying your family because we have children already here, okay, that need guidance and carrying on. Even if you don't adopt them yourself, you can get involved with big brothers, big sisters, or in the church and be a mentor in that kind of capacity. But we have to be honest with ourselves because oftentimes we pressure ourselves into thinking that if we don't make certain benchmarks, then I'm not a man. Okay. And then we have allowed the streets and that underbelly narrative of being pimps, ballers, shot callers. And, you know, for those who are of that mindset that they got to have this harem of women to say that this is how bad of a man I am, you know, and I can lay pipe like this. We've got to destroy that as well, or at least come to some kind of happy medium to where we understand what this is, because we have allowed, the reason why I don't like the term or don't like when masculinity becomes an issue is because the definition has remained the archaic definition, and it has broadened that nobody wants to accept the broadness of it. We want masculinity to be this. And as a matter of fact, we didn't even colorize it because now they're saying black masculinity look like this and, you know, want to say what men are and blah, 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 blah. But what we have to do is understand, overstand, understand that whatever societal definition or archetype for what that word is supposed to represent, we are more than that. We are more than that because that there is only a foundation of who we are. Okay. And we can define it, which is why you were able to define the kind of man that you are. You could tell your father, you know, I'm my own man. I had to build who I am. And I had to learn it through my femininity. How about that? Okay. Because back in my mid-30s, child, this boy and me kicked in, child, because I used to wear my little captains and carrying on and all of that. And one day I went to go put them on and I felt funny. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay. And I went walking through the store, and navy blue is never a sharp color. Navy blue is navy blue. Ain't nothing hot about navy blue. And I went through the store one day. I said, oh, that is a hot pair of pants. And it was navy blue. And I said, bitch, something is wrong. And I called my best friend at the time. I said, bitch, something wrong. Something wrong. And he started laughing at me. He said, that boy kicking your ass, ain't he? I said, bitch, what the fuck are you talking about? He said, that boy is trying to come the fuck out, bitch. So that's when I had to learn it was okay to accept him, right? Because I kind of ran from him because of what the demonstrations of what masculine men were supposed to be in my life. What it looked like was drunken, wife-beating, you know, men who talk shit all the damn time, you know, and was in between jobs all the damn time and was trying to, you know, that was not I wasn't comfortable with that, you know. So when I had to learn that it was okay for me to develop who I am and the type of man and the man that I am, it was okay. And I had to come to grips with that. And this here is what every male child has to deal with. And yet the examples that we have, you know, you have to then try to gravitate to who you think your archetype is. You know, even if it's not your own family members. Because as one of y'all said, there's always that somebody that you know that can get you together. That one person that you respect, that you look up to, this, that, and the other, because he becomes the archetype that you think you want to be like. That represents everything. So once we get to that particular point and be very, 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 very honest with it, okay? Because most of the time it wasn't our dads. Some of us were, or it changed. Because I know, like I told you earlier, when I was a kid, my daddy was my everything. I wanted to be just like my father at one point until I started to learn who he was. I was like, I don't want that. You know? And so then it became what? So now you have to gravitate to that, and you find it because the energy is there. It's like, okay, this is it. Or it's forced on you because a lot of folks who are in the streets and everything, they got that so, or on the movies, you know, how many of us want to be Superfly? Isn't it interesting they want to be Superfly and not damn Shaft? Okay. So that there becomes the whole thing, and we have to be honest with that. And going into parenting from a male's point of view, we as males, as men, have got to say, you know what? I don't know everything, you know, and we have to be okay with the fact that we have to learn that we are nurturers as well. We've been told that we're only to protect and to provide, but we're also nurturers. And how do you know that you are? Because every last one of y'all that got daughters say, I treat my daughters differently than I treat my boys because these are girls. Okay. And so because of that, there's a nurturing side that we have to show our boys too. But we got to learn how to shape it to where it's not coddling, to where it's not giving them a pass, to where it's not being soft in some kind of way. It is to let them have a full range of emotion and to be a full person. And to know it's okay. What's the dude? The guy who teaches martial arts, his classes, child, he is fucking fabulous. He is fabulous with how he teaches those boys, you know. And, you know, he let them cry. He let them know when to, you know, okay, let it out, but you got to keep going. You know what I'm saying? And don't get caught up in the tears. Work through it. You're fabulous. I was like, oh my God, where the fuck was he at? But I guess we're the same age. So, so he had to learn it himself in order to teach it. You see what I'm saying? So that there is where we are. And I think that, you know, this is just the beginning of a conversation. And I think we need to have more of these. So I'm gonna let you guys.
I believe we need to put this together as a forum in person.
I do too. As a matter of fact, we're working on a men's forum, and I'm hoping we still gonna do it this was it the third or fourth Saturday of this month, CPCA. Myself and Mike Lindsay and Karen. Now we'll let you guys know, keep you posted. But this here is the conversation. Y'all got any closing remarks?
I do. I just want to say, you know, as you know, black men, I just got to give a message to the black men. I mean, it's hard being a black man. We know it, but you know, we have to really stick through it. We can't give up, and we have to understand that these women and these children need us. And I think whether we know what we're doing or whether we learning as we go, you know, the main thing that we have to do is the small thing. Just show up and just be there, and everything else will come in, man. So stay strong, black men. Stay beautiful, black women. Meech, stay Meech.
Who else I'm gonna be? Well, wait a minute.
You know,
Let me not put that out there because y'all know I'll throw on some hair in a minute, honey. Okay.
We all gonna love each other, man, and we all gonna get through this together. I mean, we all we got. Red, open your eyes. You going to sleep? Am I putting you to sleep?
No, he good. He just
all
Yeah. So those
No,
my
honey.
closing argument. Thank you for having me on, and I can't wait till the next one, man. And
Okay.
we should carry the series on.
Exactly. Zay, you got something?
I do. I just want to say briefly to everyone, anyone that was watching, continue to stay strong, continue to keep your head up, continue to be positive. Um, uh, if we make it another, every day we get is a gift. And if we continue to press on and persevere, we will get to the other side. I think as men, the odds are against us, and we have to just stay focused and also encouraging each other. And if I can say anything to any man that's watching this, get you a support system of men and brothers that you fellowship with, every so often and do things with. I think the silent killer of the African American diaspora is that we get to this silo where we want to be alone because we feel like nobody understands us, that we made it to
Mm.
this point in life by ourselves, and or we so afraid that somebody's gonna be envious or jealous of. Listen, if they were gonna take it, they'd have took it. If it was meant for them to have, they would have it. And what God got for you is for you. So get you a support system of people, of men who love you and who and it's okay to say I love you to another man, and to be, keep check in with your brother, make sure they straight. Because you never know, you could be that one phone call. I think it was a young man that played for the 24-year-old that played for Dallas
Yes.
Cowboys that just kills it. So you never know when you could be that one phone call that could keep somebody from pulling the trigger or jumping off the cliff. It don't cost you nothing to make a phone call. It don't cost you nothing to say I love you and I'm thinking about you. So and last but certainly not least, I'm gonna end with this because it's a pundit on what y'all were talking about a few moments ago. Uh, when it comes to black women, I don't understand how or why anybody would want more than one. Because if you've had what I had, you only can handle one at a time. And on that note, I'm done.
And I second that motion, Rem.
Third.
The odds haven't, honey. I'm abstain.
Just get your hey, like they said though, at the same time, I don't have to really say much because he covered it all. But we all need to find an accountability partner.
That's right. That's right.
And once you find an accountability partner, make sure that not only are they accountable for you, you're accountable for them as well. And I mean, when you lock in with somebody like that, then we can win. It's all about us locking back in like the old school, So
Exactly. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, and those of you who have been listening to us and sharing this, if you coming back in the archives and catching this, honey, listen, we thank you. We appreciate you for joining in with us. You may finish all of your crumpets, my darling, because the tea has been dished, and you've been dishing tea, darlings, with Big Meat and the big red fella over there, the big guy ally himself, and our wonderful guest who has Zay and Mario over here in the house with us, my darling. Now listen to me and listen to me very well. If you love me like you say you do, honey, and been showing me all your love or whatever, listen, I want you to go and like, subscribe, and to share in all platforms that we're on. Take this and get it together, honey. Tell all your family and your friends to like, subscribe, and share. Now, if you hated me or didn't like something I said or wanted a neck roll or whatever the case may be, you can tell all your motherfucking enemies to come over here to like, subscribe, to share, and to do the things, okay? Because one of the things that you have to understand is everything that we're doing over here at Three the Hard Way, honey, the syndicate, I love saying that. The three, everything that we're doing over here in any way, shape, style, form, and or fashion will move forward, okay? So, darling, on that note, until the next time, oh, yes, child. Okay, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat these cookies over here. I know y'all saw me grazing. I had my Oreo dark chocolates. Oh, child.
ain't nothing open right now but Waffle House and IHOP and the other thing you don't bother with. So
But I know how to make
Please,
a
please,
phone call to what I
please,
do bother with.
please take us off air. Please take us off the air. End the show off air.
On that
We
note,
gotta go.
honey.
Y'all be good, black man.
hold it, hold it, hold it.
Yeah.